Good stuff, us sweating in the booth. Kids are going to be doing some hitting tonight. As Keith Jackson would say, there's going to be some paint swapping going on. These are two teams that like to run right at each other. This will be a very physical football game.
Some slobber knocking. That is Robert Passmore set to kick off for the Panthers. Back deep for Buchholz. Bontrell Mitchell, Damon Wimberly, and Antonio Smith. The kick is away. That's Smith at his own 10. He'll take it up left side, get a block, break a tackle, and he will finally be brought, well, he's still driving, brought down at the 37-yard line. 1st and 10 for Buchholz there.
Very impressive opening return. Antonio Smith is not a big man, but carried about 8 Palatka defenders on his back.
There you see the Buchholz offense led by quarterback Doug Johnson. The line is anchored by Conrad Call. He's a big one. 1st and 10 here for the Bobcats at their own 37-yard line. That's Doug Johnson under center. Split backs and a slot behind him and a wide receiver to each side. That's Perkle in motion. This is Wimberly. Up the middle, he'll gain 3, stumbling at the line. He's got 3 yards behind right tackle.
Perkle shifted from the left to the right side. Looked like it confused the Palatka defense.
There's the Palatka defense led by Tyrone Mack, and there you see the big defensive tackle Terrence Buford. We'll see him go both ways tonight. Rod King leads the team in tackles, number 41. Keep an eye on him.
This Palatka defense is very stingy, very, very stingy and very physical.
2nd and 7 for the Cats. That's Wimberly again. He'll take it up the middle. Break a tackle. That's a fumble. And
Buchholz got it. Buchholz is on top of it. Wimberly lost it on the second contact, but luckily they retained it for 3rd down.
I think that was number 67, Matthew Talbot, falling on the ball. Retaining possession for the Bobcats. That'll bring up 3rd and 8. Rather 3rd and 6 now for Buchholz. Ricky Rembert checks in, the fullback slash slot back.
They like to bring in Rembert during the passing situations. Notice how they bring out Bullard, a little bit of a bigger fullback. So this is definitely their passing set.
3rd and 6 for Buchholz. A wide out to each side for Doug Johnson. Rembert and Wimberly in the backfield. To give it to Rembert, he fumbles the ball. And Palatka falls on it. Palatka ball at the Buchholz 37-yard line. A key turnover early on in the game, Vince.
Yeah, the fumble was recovered by Lawrence Goss, number 12. That's number 72. I didn't see the 7. Terrence Buford, we highlighted him in the opening segment, and there he is chipping in early. And look at the great position Palatka gets to start with. Lee Johnson in the game, and we finally get a chance to see him.
Buchholz has had some problems with fumbles recently. They fumbled 11 times in their last 4 games, having a hard time holding on to the football. Coach Joe Dean has talked about those turnovers this week.
That's got to be a big problem for any team. I mean, you just don't win if you turn the ball over, be it John Madden football or any level. You're going to lose when you turn the ball over.
1st down now for the Panthers at the Buchholz 38. That's Lawrence Goss under center. The I formation behind him. The give is to Lee Johnson. He gets stuck and gains maybe 2 along the right side.
Shane Goskland in on the tackle. He plays both ways, especially against running teams, according to Coach George Dean. He's just a very physical type linebacker that needs to be in there against those type teams.
There you see the Palatka offense led by everything Lee Johnson.
Actually, number 35, pardon the typographical error.
And also you saw highlighted Paul Beckwith, the big offensive guard. He's been playing all over the field all year, punting, everything.
One of the top 100 recruits in the state of Florida, according to the Ocala Star banner.
2nd and 9 for the Panthers. The I formation again behind Goss. We'll see that all night. They give us again to Johnson, and he is stuck for no gain by number 22. That's Bubba Key coming up to make the hit.
Bubba Key, we mentioned his name a lot the last couple of games. First couple of games, he didn't show up at all, but he's really been chipping in a lot lately.
There you see the Buchholz defense led by small Tarek Payton. He's small, but he's quick. He can get through the gaps.
Don't tell him he's small.
And make plays in a hurry. There you see Derek Harris, the younger brother of Florida Gator safety Mike Harris,
who was in attendance this evening.
We saw him stroll into the ballpark. That brings up 3rd and 9 now for the Panthers.
This is where Palatka has a lot of trouble. An I team will not get their backfields out of the backfield in a hurry. So they really have problems passing the situation.
Goss throws it out to his tight end. That's number 83, Toby Jones. The pass was catchable, but it glanced off his hands.
Right through the hands. That's the problem with the Palatka team.
4th down now for Palatka. They'll, of course, punt.
We're going to say Lawrence Goss's name a lot tonight, the quarterback for Palatka. He's been able to pick up the slack for Palatka since since Johnson. Most teams are focusing on him. Goss has picked it up on his own very well.
Now the punter for Palatka is Paul Beckwith. We saw him make a big, we saw him highlighted at the opening of our show. Like I said, he's all over the place. One of the coach's favorites.
Anybody who's 6'4", 250 pounds should be a coach's favorite. You don't get a lot of the guys that size in the high school level.
Back deep for Buchholz is Derek Harris. It's a fake. That's Lee Johnson taking the quick snap. And he did not get the first down. The tackle made by Gerald Mosley coming up to make the hit.
Fake punts already. See, every time we do a Buchholz game, both coaches like to pull out all kinds of gadget plays, and rarely do they work. This early in the game, in that kind of field position, I think that was a good risk by Coach McCool.
Is it just me, or is this the year of the fake punt here on the Game of the Week? We've seen win in almost every game, teams taking a risk.
And personally, I'm against it. This is a game of field position. I mean,
correct.
Certainly, Buchholz is got pretty decent position at 32. It's worth a shot this early in the game. Nobody scored, and at the rate Buchholz is going, fumbling on 2 of their first 3 plays, maybe not a bad risk at all. So
Buchholz gets the ball back after that early turnover. They'll have 1st and 10 at their own 33. That's Rembert in motion. Johnson drops back, looks for Rembert. He's bumped, and the pass almost picked off and then dropped by Ricky Rembert. The man, a little bit of
contact back there. Number 18, Miguel
Pedraza on the coverage.
Number 19, my eye must really be bothering me. I've missed 2 numbers already. Rembert had the ball right through his hands. Unfortunate. Nice pass by Johnson. Have not seen a lot of nice passes out of him lately. Rembert
has caught 3 passes this year for 111 yards, average of 37 yards per catch, and has a touchdown through the air. That brings up 2nd and 10 now for Buchholz.
So a pass on 1st down puts them in trouble. They got 2nd and long now.
The area's leading receiver, R.J. Anderson, is split out to Doug Johnson's left. The give is to Wimberly. He'll take it up the middle. He's got room to run, but the hole is quickly. Buchholz gains a little extra yardage and brings it up to his own 44-yard line.
I tell you, the Palatka defense gave up 9 yards in that carry. I'm sorry, 10. It's going to be a 1st down. But there was a great speed shown by the secondary coming up and reacting to that draw play. So they've seen that already. The Palatka defense is keyed in, and those defensive backs like Fowler and Fells need to really pay attention to that. And they did a good job on that one despite giving up 10 yards.
That's a good hint of just how elusive Damon Wimberly is. I had him tackled already, and he got out of it. 1st and 10 now for Buchholz. Wideouts to either side of the line. Bullard and Wimberly in the backfield. The give is to Bullard. He'll take it up the middle. He's stuck there. The ball is stripped by number 40.
Another fumble.
That's Willie Fells, and another fumble. But this time, the ball goes out of bounds.
Ball went out of bounds at midfield. I'm not sure where the officials are going to spot it. It might go to midfield on this one.
The officials not being extremely helpful. I noticed on the first fumble they didn't give a signal as to who was in possession of the ball.
They're going to ahead and give the ball in Palatka territory, a nice gift. It just shows Buchholz is just not taking care of the ball. Bullard had the inside handoff, only was using one hand to protect it, and they stripped it. Looks like Palakka's just looking to strip the ball.
But he gained an extra 5 yards. That gives the Cats 2nd and 3 at the 48 of Palatka. That's Wimberly on the toss sweep to the left side.
They got the numbers.
Strung out beautifully. And a great play to Palatka defense swarming. That's Brian Westney, the right defensive end, making the tackle, number 85 there.
Buchholz had 2 blockers out there. Palatka had 2 defenders. Should have been a big play, but Westney made a fantastic play, taking on the isolation block and making the tackle.
Did Wimberly wait a little bit too long there on his blocks?
Nothing was really open quite yet. You had the one-on-one matchups with the blockers, and they hadn't made contact yet, so he was just waiting, letting the blockers do the work. Unfortunately, they didn't do it.
Gain of 2 on the play. 3rd and 1 now for Buchholz.
Make that
sneak
first
up
down.
The middle. That's Doug Johnson on the sneak. They love that sneak in short yardage. We've seen it all year.
As I've said for as many years as I've been doing this high school football, it's the easiest play in football.
About 30
one
years.
Exchange. I've been here since the late 50s. No. It's the easiest play in football. You don't have to worry about the handoff being dropped off, and Doug Johnson's a good enough ball handler where you don't have to worry about a fumble out of him. And we're really going to say fumble a lot tonight at the rate we're going.
Early on, it looks as if Buchholz can move the ball if they just hang on to it.
It's very true. Neither one of these teams are blessed with great size. The advantage here lies with the Buchholz offensive line with Conrad Call and Crawford, just large men. 270 for Call, and Crawford 6'4", 227, but he can bench 300 pounds. So there should definitely be some advantage when Buchholz has the ball. If you watch Sports Week, we thought that's where the game was going to be won.
1st and 10 at the Panther 44. This is Wimberly on the right side on the toss sweep. He'll cut it up the middle and gain about 5 yards. That's number 42, Rod King, for Palatka on the tackle.
Yeah, Rod King, their leading tackler. And Damon Wimberly, that time, we mentioned a couple plays before that he didn't make the cut quick enough. That time he did, and you saw the yardage that he picked up.
Damon, a soft-spoken leader of this offense. You know, he makes the great plays, but you hardly ever see him after the game. He's right out of there.
And our first FHSAA mandated water break of the evening. We always look forward to these.
But why don't we get any water? I've never figured that out.
We never get water. I guess we got to start paying production people.
Palatka 4-1 overall this year, 2-0 in District 4-4A. They're also a member of the Florida Star Conference with schools like St. Augustine and Middleburg. The alma mater of John L. Williams and also Jarvis Williams, two NFL prominent players, but no relation.
Speaking of stars, like the Florida Star Conference, we have our own star, Kevin McKelvin, down on the field.
Well, thank you, guys. I don't think I'm really a star, but I'll take that. Tonight's game means a whole lot more because of the forfeit from Ocala Vanguard. Buchholz should be 0-1 right now, but they're 1-0, meaning really big game for them. If they would have lost this game, they'd have been 0-2, probably out of the running for a playoff spot. We talked to Coach McCool before the game. He says he does not agree with that rule. He thinks that the rules need to be changed. The kid did not even play in the game against Buchholz. If there's one positive, it's that it happened after only one game. They're only 0-1 instead of maybe, 0-4 if it would have happened later in the season. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Kevin. That is a rough way to treat a bunch of 17-year-olds. They get penalized like that.
It is a good point. I mean, where do you draw the line between, sticking by the letter of the law and where do you draw the line? I think they did the right thing, but there should be some amendments made to make it fair for all kids involved.
On 2nd and 4, that's Wimberley with maybe a gain of 1 right behind the center.
Of course, we could talk politics all night. We prefer to talk about football.
We leave the politics to Kevin.
Yes.
3rd and 3 now for Buchholz. Johnson comes over to pay a short visit with Coach George Dean.
Don't be too surprised to see a play-action pass in the situation. Wimberley's been able to pick up 3-4 yards of the carry, and they got the stars R.J. Anderson and number 4, Vontrell Mitchell, not Greg Rushing, at the top of the screen.
Everybody thinks he's Greg Rushing, and he's not.
Greg Rushing's getting some free clips from out of the paper. Well, they do give it to Wimberley.
This is Wimberley again, and he'll get the first down near the Palatka 30-yard line. It looks like Buchholz has set the game plan early. They're going to pass the ball when in long yardage situations, but 1st and 2nd down, they're putting the ball in the hands of number 36.
Everybody made fun of me at the beginning of the year at the preseason show, and I said all this throwing is just window dressing. That's not what they're going to do this year. Everybody's telling me, oh no, look at the great game Doug Johnson had the first game of the year. What has he done since? He's 26 for 80 on the season. He's got 2 incompletions tonight. It's still a running team. And Coach Dean, no matter what team he coaches, be it this level or any other level of football, he will have a running football team. And they got the first down. Buchholz will keep moving the ball.
1st and 10 now for Buchholz at the Palatka 33-yard line. Palatka's defense, as you mentioned earlier, has been unreal so far. Giving up just 6 points per game.
They've played some tough teams. I mean, they only let Bradford have 14 points, and that's with great offensive players like Sean Davis in that.
This is Matt Bullard up the middle. He'll gain 5 or 6. Bullard doesn't see the ball a lot, but when he gets it, he makes something out of his opportunities.
Everybody talks about the Buchholz tailbacks, and they've had some good fullbacks over the past few years. I mean, last year and the year before that, Sam Reynolds, who is a phenomenal athlete, probably just as good as a runner as Tyrone Baker. But, fullbacks open a lot of holes for the tailbacks, so you have to keep that in mind when you're talking about the greatness of Danzy and Baker and many others before then.
2nd and 5 now for Buchholz. R.J. Anderson split to the left. That's Vontrell Mitchell split to the right. Wimberley and Bullard in the backfield. To give this time is to Bullard again. He finds a little room up the middle and gains maybe 2 or 3. Number 41, Tyrone Mack on the play.
You can see how the Palatka defense is keying on Damon Wimberley. If you get a chance in the next couple of plays to not watch the ball, take a look at the Palatka defense, you'll see that. They're going wherever Wimberley goes, and by handing it off to Bullard underneath, they're able to get underneath the pursuit. So Bullard has picked up a lot of yards so far on the evening.
They're almost daring Buchholz to pass with that formation there.
Take a look at the defense. Not on that play.
3rd and short again, and we know what that means. That means a quarterback sneak from quarterback Doug Johnson.
He's taken a couple in this year on quarterback sneak, so that's something he's very good at.
Buchholz moving the ball almost at will here on the ground so far.
Palatka only gives up about 170 yards a game. So a drive like this is something they haven't seen over the course of the season. They've played teams like Orange Park and Bradford, teams that are traditionally known for really having bruising running attacks.
We saw Conrad Call, the left tackle, jump there, and subsequently the yellow laundry falls on the field.
Conrad Call was playing right tackle early in the year, but they flipped him and Crawford.
It's always important to have a very adept, athletic left tackle.
Especially in the passing offense. Unfortunately, Buoltz, I would not say they had a passing offense, but they are crucial, of course, to protect the quarterback's blind side, and also it's the weak side of the formation generally, so you need somebody who's able to block on his own.
The penalty brings 1st and 15 now for the Bobcats. That's Mitchell to the left now and Anderson to the right. The pitch is to Wimberly. Good block by Mitchell. Another good block by Bullard. Wimberly's got room. He gains maybe 5 or 6 along the left side. The tackle again by number 41, Tyrone Mack.
Bracha Kellum got out there ahead of the play very well. He's not a big guy, but he got ahead of that play, pulled from the guard position, and made a crucial block also.
Wimberly so far this year, 95 rushes for 535 yards, almost 6 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. Second down, about 7 to go now for Buchholz.
We'll say 7.
We'll say 7. A long 7.
Mitchell has one-on-one coverage down at the bottom of your screen. You don't see that, but below the screen he's got one-on-one, and they're going right to him.
There's Mitchell, the ball right through his hands. He may have heard footsteps on that when number 19, Miguel Pedraza, was right behind him.
Pedraza was playing right off him. Look at the body on him. He's going to be a good corner in any other level of football. He's got the traditional cornerback body. Great physique, and he was laying a little bit too far off Mitchell that time, and they tried to hit the slant, which is the bread and butter of the passing offense for Buchholz. Right through the hands of Mitchell, unfortunately.
Obviously, Johnson was thinking along the same lines as you, and he saw that single coverage over there. They love the timing routes in this offense to either wide receiver.
It's so dangerous to throw deep.
3rd and 10 now at the 21 of Palatka. To give this time is to Wimberly. A reversed. That's Vontrell Mitchell. He stumbles, regains his composure, and does not get back to the line.
Harvey Coring was in the backfield to break that one up. A fine play by him. He stayed at home. You know, the coaches will teach the defenders when they see a sweep to stay at home and watch for the cutbacks. He was sitting right there waiting for Mitchell.
That'll bring up 4th down now, and Brad McCants trots in to attempt a
long one.
36-yard field goal.
Can't see the lines too well from up here. It's going to be a 40-yarder. It's just inside the 31-yard line, so you have to give him 40 yards on this attempt. He's got the leg. He was hitting him good before the game started, and of course over the course of the season he's hit him long.
From the hold of Doug Johnson, the kick is up.
That's got the distance. It's in there.
It's in there. Barely crawling over the front crossbar. Brad McCants with a 40-yard field goal.
He could have made it from 42.
Palatka jumps out to an early 3-0 lead with 1:03 left in the first quarter. It's always nice to have it's a great luxury to have a guy who can come in and kick it like that.
If you're talking about all kinds of football on all kinds of different levels, be it pro and college, everybody's talking about the kickers having a great year so far this year. And the kickers are getting good on all levels. I mean, in the past in the NFL, you haven't had a lot of strong kicking programs. The colleges have said no tees, and they moved the hash marks in, so it's made it a lot easier for kickers to become better at a younger age. And it is nice to have those kickers because you can be a little more conservative towards the goal line, not risk the turnovers, and still know you're going to come away with 3.
3-0 Buchholz here late in the first quarter. McCants will kick back deep for Palatka. Well, not that deep. Lee Johnson.
Unfortunately, nobody goes back deep when you're playing against Buchholz when they're kicking off. They like to do that little pooch formation. Reason for that is because they know McCants doesn't have a very strong leg. We saw that on the field goal attempt. So they just want to put it straight up in the air and negate any type of return. Now, most teams will try to get back around to the outside, in this case, towards the top of the screen on the return to try and outrun their pursuit. I've yet to see that happen to anybody against Buchholz.
The kick is away. That's Johnson back deep. Feels it like a pass. He stumbles at his own 5, but retains possession. Brings it up around the 15. He's at the 20 and gets stuck there by number 6. That's Derek Harris.
I don't think he got to the 20. I think he's on the 16-yard line right now. And it's hard to see these lines from up here. It's not very distinct. But I think Johnson may have been better off letting that one go in the end zone than downing it.
Correction, that's Gator Reed in on the special teams tackle, the backup quarterback. Gator, a man that some people think maybe should be the starting quarterback.
He's got an arm. He's been in the program for a while. He's a senior. But I think what happens in this situation when you have a senior and a sophomore who are of equal talent, you go with the sophomore to keep continuity with the program.
First down, Palatka at their 17. To give it to the fullback, that's Emmanuel Fagans.
Nice run. He is a strong fullback, and of course, being a fullback, he has to open up a lot of holes for Lee Johnson. Nice for him to get a carry there.
The Palatka offense so far this season, 269 yards per game averaging, and also averaging 17 points per game. Fagans so far in the year doesn't see the ball a lot, but has gained 203 yards, an average of 5.5 each time he carries it. That brings up 2nd and 5 now for Palatka.
Any coach will be happy getting 5 yards of carry out of a fullback. And Palatka, of course, has that tradition of great fullbacks. John L. Williams for Seattle was one of them.
There's the gun to end the first quarter. Your score after 1. It's Buchholz 3, Palatka 0. We'll be back with second quarter action after this. Field.
Not
Switching
Boosterfield.
sides now. Yeah, not Boosterfield. That's Lawrence Goff handing off to Emmanuel Fagans, the fullback. He'll gain maybe 3. Gator Reed again in on the tackle.
We just mentioned Gator Reed, his abilities to play. He was an athlete without a position for a long time. He had to back up McGriff, and he just had. They had to find a position for him. An athlete like that, you got to get him on the field. And I couldn't believe they found him at defensive tackle.
I was shocked to find that out. I was like, this has to be a typo or something. But he is a defensive tackle, all 175 pounds of him.
Coach Dean just loves speed on the defensive line.
3rd and 2 now for Palatka. A wide out to each side of the set for quarterback Lawrence Goss. The give is to Johnson on the option. He cuts it up inside and gains 4 yards, near first down yardage.
I think he got that last little effort. You could just hear the place quiet when Lee Johnson gets his hand on the ball. He hasn't had a good game lately. Like we said, 12 carries with 20 yards last week against Orange Park. But he's had games like against Bradford, 38 carries, 257 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's dangerous. People know that. They've read it in the papers. They've heard us talk about it on Sports Week. And you just know he's going to break one before this game's over.
From the film we've seen, it looks like their offense is basically give the ball to Lee and see what happens.
He's got a great tailback. Put him back there with an eye with your best blocker in your team at fullback, and you'll be set.
That was a first down for Palatka at their own 31. That's Johnson again. Correction, at their own 26. He'll get near the 30, bringing up 2nd and about 8.
Buchholz in the last few plays have put 9 men up against the run. They're letting man-on-man coverage go on the receivers. So look for maybe Goss to hit some timing patterns, or maybe a hook and go, because it looks like Buchholz is coming up pretty tight, daring them to throw that ball in the air.
Goss has not thrown the ball too much this year, only 55 times, but it's nice to have a quarterback who plays mistake-free football.
Only 2 interceptions, that's right. That's something a coach you just got to love, because their whole game is based on defense and ball control.
2nd and 8. The fake is to Fagans. Goss keeps it on the option on the right side. No, he pitches to
That was a forward pass. He went forward with that one. He made a great read. Then there was a change. He should have got rid of it the second time. Didn't. They got rid of it late. Somehow picked up a couple yards. That was a forward pass. We'll give that passing yardage to for Lee Johnson receiving, of course.
2 words describe that play from Lawrence Goss. No, 2 syllables. Risky. That was almost picked off and taken back the other way.
You betcha.
Officials timeout here with 9:49 left in the second quarter. The score is still 3-0 Buchholz.
We watched the film of Palatka against Gainesville, and they did not run a lot of option. They were just one of the basic slamming your face eye attacks. But we've seen the option twice already just this quarter. Maybe they've seen something that they can attack against Buchholz.
3rd and a long 5 now for the Panthers. There you see a close-up of quarterback Lawrence Goss. He's going to throw the ball. That's number 1. Kedrick Brooks, the split end, right off his hand already off the get-go. A combined 3 drop passes for both teams.
And you're seeing exactly why high school teams do not throw the ball. You always got athletes who can throw it. That's not a hard skill to learn. The difficult skill is learn how to catch the ball.
This is another great example of how much Palatka depends upon their defense. At 3rd and 5, they'll go for the first down, but if they don't get it, they know their defense is there to back them up.
New punter, and instead of Beckwith, they put the coach's son, Jim McCool, back there.
McCool, the long punter. Beckwith specializes in some of the shorter punting situations. Heavy rush. Gets the punt away. It's going to be a short one. Derek Harris decides to shy away from it.
Wisely.
And it will be down at the Palatka 32-yard line. by Ben Miles.
Antonio Smith almost had a block. If it wasn't for McCool getting that ball off with a low trajectory, that would have been blocked.
We've seen them come after some punts so far this year already. The big special teams attention being paid to that part of the game.
Special teams got our award for Player of the Week, our first game of the season against Eastside. Just a phenomenal amount of plays being made by the special teams. You know, people always say there's two ways to win a football game, offense and defense. They're forgetting special teams, which is just as important, even though they're only on the field maybe 20% of the time.
On first down, that's Wimberly.
Great hit by Rodney King.
Ouch.
Ouch. Put his shoulder right into Wimberly's ribs, just like you teach him.
King.
None of those Chuck Cecil lead with your helmet tackles either.
King has a whopping 70 tackles on the season in just 5 games. Some big numbers put up by that young man.
Well, the scheme is, they call it a 50 defense, 5 linemen, 2 linebackers. It's called a gap control, where the tackles and the nose guard try to free up the men and allow the inside linebackers to make the plays. Rodney King, the senior, has done that so far this season.
That'll bring up 2nd and 9 now for Buchholz. Matt Bullard trots off the field just in time. Rembert and Wimberly in the backfield.
Pitch action. That surprised everybody. Down to Perkle.
That's Wesley Perkle. He has it and is brought down at the 30-yard line by number 33. That's Anthony Seymour. You saw there the fake pitch on the option, and everyone fell for it. And Wesley Perkle was left by himself.
Great ball handling, too. The Palatka defense has been moving their cornerbacks in to support on the run when they put 2 receivers to one side. That time they got burned on it.
Yet another example of just how the running game can help you. Not only can you run it, but when you fake the run, everyone is headed to that side of the field.
Sets up everything. The running game sets up everything. And I like to apologize to Mike for jumping into the play-by-play situation there. I got a little excited on that pass.
No problem.
Great ball handling by Johnson. That's something we haven't seen out of him this year, just hiding the ball on his hip. Fooled everybody. Now I'll turn it back over to Mike.
First down for Buchholz. That's Wimberly behind the block of Bullard. He's got room to run. Good block by Bullard. Ooh. And Wimberly is down to the 20, around the 17-yard line. First down, Buchholz.
B.J. Fowler really knocked him silly after the first down was already made. You notice the defense hesitated for just half a step, and that allowed Wimberly to get outside. They just saw the pitch action the play before, and the pitch sweep worked beautifully.
Great block by Ted Bullard on that play. Led the sweep just the way a fullback should. First down for Buchholz at the 18. Rembert and Wimberly in the backfield. Vontrell Mitchell and R.J. Anderson are the wideouts. They give this to Wimberly again. He's got Rembert in front of him. He's got room to run. He'll be brought down around the 6, 7, 8-yard line. A gain of 7 on the play. Greg Stiles, number 31, on the stop for the Panthers.
Pitch sweep looks like it's working. Buchholz taking advantage of their speed, getting outside the containment of Palatka. Some great blocks being thrown by the tight end and the pulling guards.
That toss sweep looks to be the play to stick by in this game. It's worked every time.
And the last 2 times they run to the wide side of the field, furthering opening up their chances to use that speed. And we're lucky enough to sit next to Bob Smith, the offensive coordinator, and the last call was basically go right.
It's always nice to hear after the snap. It's usually go, 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 go. That's Bullard. He'll score from 7 yards out. Ted Bullard, a 7-yard touchdown run. Buchholz 6, Palatka 3. Buchholz 9, Palatka 0. I'm sorry.
A masterful drive set up there by offensive coordinator Bob Smith. Everything he did set up the play coming up afterwards. The pitch action set up the sweep. The sweep set up the counter underneath the fullback, put 6 on the board for the Bobcats.
Bullard got the ball in his gut, and nobody was home. He had 7 yards of green grass in front of him and just walked into the end zone.
No spike, though.
That would be against FHSAA guidelines. I have a hardest time saying that.
It just doesn't flow off the tongue as most acronyms do.
FHSAA, maybe we should call it that.
That might work. You're sitting in on a production meeting here at Cox Cable 8. How to pronounce FHSAA?
At any rate, it is 9-0 Buchholz now with 6:58 left to go in the second quarter. Damon Wimberly already has 71 yards in the ground. It looks like they're going to give the ball to him and just see what happens.
That's the Buchholz offensive philosophy, has been ever since George Dean took over in 1990. Give the ball to the tailback. Everything else is secondary. I think we got a water break right here during the extra point. They don't waste any time doing these water breaks.
No matter what time it is, if it's time for a water break, it's time for a water break.
And it's also time for Kevin McKelvin.
How you doing, guys? People might be saying, Lee Johnson who? What Buchholz is doing is they're putting man on the corners, daring Palatka to throw the ball. They're loading up the middle and just aiming for Lee Johnson. They want to shut him down. That's their #1 priority. And Doug Sanders, he's okay. He just had a cramp. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Stacking the eye, daring Lee Johnson to run the ball.
As most teams have been doing lately.
The Kansas extra point is up.
Brought out the pitching wedge. That one had a nice high trajectory.
10-0 Buchholz with 6:58 left to go in the first half.
And this crowd is not very loud for a district matchup. They have yet to get fired up about this game.
I am surprised at the small amount of people that Palatka brought with them.
It's a pretty good drive, an hour or so.
50 miles east of us along Highway 20.
You broke out the atlas for that one, didn't you?
Thank you, Rand McNally.
So far tonight, it's been a very good showing by the Buchholz offense. Palatka defense has played well, but there's only so many things you can do against all those weapons. So far tonight, Buchholz has only planned to use Wimberly. I'm sure sooner or later they're going to open it up and use some more play action and really try and confuse them.
As an outsider looking on, looks like Buchholz's offensive line surge has been excellent so far.
They got a big weight advantage. Palatka is not a big team at all, and that's the one thing that really shines out as a matchup problem for Palatka.
That's McCants set to kick off now for Buchholz. Back kind of deep is Lee Johnson preparing to return the kick.
Something I never understood is why Buchholz doesn't just kick it over to the left side of the field and have somebody run down there and pick it up. That would just be a long onside kick. There's nobody in the building over there.
The kick is away. That's Johnson at his own 14. He'll bring it to around the 27-yard line. First down for Palatka there.
So far tonight, Lee Johnson has not impressed me. He's been very tentative with the ball in his hands. He doesn't seem to have the fire and the bounceability that I saw in the tape against Gainesville.
Well, when I talked to Coach McCool this weekend, he made it very apparent that they've had some big injuries along their offensive line, and Lee Johnson has unfortunately felt some of the brunt of those injuries. Last week, you mentioned only 20 yards, and it's hard to get free when you have a bunch of second string, maybe some injured starters in there for you.
Only two teams have truly stopped them. I mean, they have a small offensive line, but except for Paul Beckwith, of course, is a monster. But they're able to run the time of game they want, and they've been able to do it very well. As I said, 4-1 record.
First down now for Palatka. That's Goss. They give us to Johnson. He'll bust it outside, cut inside to Shane Goslinga. A gain of 7.
Still looks tentative, though, making his cuts. It's the first time we've seen the counterplay for the tailback. He still looks tentative. I mean, he picks up 6 yards of natural ability, but he just doesn't look to be leaning forward, I guess is what would really give me the idea that he's looking for holes and being aggressive.
Correction, a gain of 5 or 6 on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 5 for Palatka. Goss is really the unheralded hero of this team. I mean, he's really played well for them so far.
He has. I mean, like I said, he has not made a lot of mistakes. He's played within the system, which is a ball control one for Coach McCool. I mean, we got Lee Johnson. There's very few risks you need to take.
2nd down, 5 yards to go. The fake is to Johnson.
He will
Goss
run.
has room to go around the left side. Great block. And Goss is broken free. He'll be pushed out of bounds at the Buchholz 40-yard line.
I'm very surprised there's not a flag thrown there, but I agree with the call. That was very close to a hit out of bounds. Goss went into the hedges, but I think it was a good call.
If I sounded a little hesitant to make that call there, it's because I was trying to get the number of the man who made the key block downfield. It was the fullback, Emmanuel Feggins. What a block.
To have a running game, you need 2 things. You need a good blocking center, and you need a good blocking fullback. That's something that Palatka has. And you saw that the ability, the play before, they had the counter to the tailback. They faked that one, and Goss just took off.
First down now for Palatka, just inside the Buchholz 40. Goss will again set in front of that I formation, a wide out to each side of the field. This is Lee Johnson. Cuts it outside again.
Nice
and back
cut.
inside.
Shane Goslinga wanted the football. He went for nothing but the football. He was lucky he had other people back there to help him out. Johnson now is starting to look like he's turning it up a bit.
That's twice we've seen Goslinga overrun the play and Johnson to run behind him, pick up about 3 or 4 extra yards. But we can't fault Goslinga. He is a busy man.
Yes, he is. He's lucky if he gets a water break during the game, even if it's mandated. Playing both ways in the trenches for Buchholz.
Second down, 3 yards to go now for Palatka.
Buchholz D-backs playing way off the receivers.
Goss audibles, grabs the face mask to his wide receivers. To give this time is to Lee Johnson. The correction, that is number 1, Kedrick Brooks.
He's not even on the 2 deep. All they have listed for a tailback is Lee Johnson. Kind of surprised to see Kedrick step in there.
Lee Johnson, like Shane Gossing, is in on virtually every down, except on defense, but carries the ball a lot.
Third, very short.
Close to first down yardage. It'll bring up 3rd and inches, dare we say?
We'll say inches. A lot of inches, maybe half a yard. 18 inches. Regardless, I think we'll look for the quarterback sneak.
3rd and short. Goss under center. He gave it to the fullback, Feggins. He breaks the tackle and gets stuck. That was Dave Sanders.
But if they give him forward progress, he has it. Great shot there by our cameraman. It was right on the first down line. If they give him forward progress, he should have it. But it doesn't look like he has it.
Tremendous pursuit that time by Sanders. He came out of nowhere, put his helmet in Feggins' chest.
They're going to bring out the sticks. We will soon see.
And Sanders is not happy with the decision to make a measurement here. He thinks he stopped him in the backfield. You saw him waving the chainsman off.
Feggins made a great play to get outside the tackle, and there's your first.
First down, Palatka. They need to strike back here. Important to get a score before Buchholz gets too far ahead. They got the ball at the Buchholz 29 now. 3:54 remaining in the first half. 10-0 Buchholz leading the Palatka Panthers.
Just had a shot at Coach McCool. He looks pretty calm and collected. Dare I say cool on the sidelines. 3:46 remaining in the first half. This game is far from over. Look for them to run right behind Paul Beckwith, number 65. Unbalanced line now for Palatka. And they run it to the strong side.
This is Goss running the option. He'll gain maybe 3 or 4. You could tell from the get-go he was not planning on pitching that ball.
Well, he does have that option to keep it and run it himself. Maybe towards the end when he got wrapped up and still had his balance with him, he maybe should have gave it up to Lee Johnson. But of course, that is kind of risky, and that's not something that coaches generally like to see.
2nd and a long 7 now for Palatka.
You all right? I need somebody.
They're still in an unbalanced, excuse me, Mike, they're still in an unbalanced line. You see the tight end is where the right tackle normally is. They have twin tackles to the left side. That usually just sends all kinds of alerts off that you're going to run that way.
On 2nd and 7, the fake is to Johnson. The throw over the middle is to Feggins. Incomplete, and that'll bring up 3rd down for Palatka.
That's a play you don't often see at the high school level. A lot of ball handling and a pass to the fake. It was run well. Feggins just didn't turn around to get the catch. I mean, that's just a very well-designed play. You usually see that one reserved for the pros.
Despite that incomplete pass, we're seeing vintage Palatka football here. They control the ball. Last week, they had one drive against Orange Park. 21 plays, all but 23 seconds of the 3rd quarter. 80 yards, resulting in a 1-yard dive by Johnson for the game-winning touchdown. That's how it's done.
I'm just thinking pure mathematics. How in the world do you have a 21-play drive? I mean, that's 4 yards every play. There's no other way you can do that.
Love will find a way. On 3rd and 7, this is Goss on the option again. He breaks the tackle, gets outside. Antonio Smith and Jeff
Carter.
Jeff Carter in on the tackle.
You know, Johnson's got to stay in the correct pitch relationship. They might be able to pick up a couple more yards if he sticks with it. He looked like he was playing rugby. He cut in behind him looking for a misdirection type pitch.
That'll give Palatka a first down.
We have a player down inside the 20. It's a Buchholz player, can't get the number.
All right, you go to Will. You go to Pat.
It's Jeff Carter, according to Brian Greenspan, who's up here in the booth with us this evening.
Carter hustling over there to make the tackle. Oftentimes we'll see a player on that sort of tackle fall on the running back's foot, or the ball carrier's foot rather, and get one in the ribs. Carter, the defensive leader of this team, obviously would be a big loss if he can't continue.
He wasn't a starter when the season began, but he just played so well in the first few games. Coach Dean had to put him in the inside linebacker.
On the season, Carter with 42 total tackles. Again, the defensive leader of this team, 29 of those unassisted. Plus that punt block and touchdown against Lake City Columbia High School.
Phenomenal individual effort there.
We've got an officials timeout here as they visit a little closer with Carter. There you can see a concerned Coach George Dean looking in on his star linebacker. Be sure to tune in this time next week we'll have the Interlochen Rams against the East Side. The Battle of the Rams next week, October 16th at 7:13 here on Cox Cable 8.
And many others on your cable dial, I'm sure you've noticed.
We're glad to see that Jeff Carter has gotten up and made his own way off the field.
And of course, Kevin McKelvin's down on the field. Will give us an update, I'm sure.
Will you, Kevin? I guess not.
So who steps in for Carter? I see Goslinga, but he's normally in there in this situation. Bubba Key is in there right now. And number 30 steps in, Dave Sanders. So I think Key has stepped into Carter's position.
Goss with a first down at the Buchholz 17. Josh McKinley split wide right and Jake McCaskill wide left.
Actually, what they've done, they stepped John Herring up to defensive tackle and moved Peyton back off the line. So there's your adjustment for Carter's absence.
On first down, the give is to Fagans up the middle. And he'll gain maybe a yard. Derek Harrison on the tackle.
Palatka going to that unbalanced line. They played Orange Park last week, so I'm sure they saw a lot of that. Orange Park loves to run that unbalanced line with the twin tackles one way or another. It definitely creates some problems. If the defense isn't paying attention, all of a sudden you got defensive end lined up on a tight end, and he's wide open.
Goss is also very adept at hiding that fake. And of course, he has the option to drop back and pass, as you just alluded to.
They're giving him great opportunity to throw the ball on the, because the backs are laying off so far.
2nd and 8. That's Johnson. He'll be stopped for no gain by number 9.
Albert Gator Reed.
Gator Reed in on the stop.
You can tell if you never knew anything about Albert before, you knew he's from Gainesville with the nickname Gator. Of course, the name Albert too.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Do you think it's because his first name's Albert? I've always wondered.
I've been here for 3 years, and I never made that connection between Albert and Gator.
Just don't call him J.R. Reed. 3rd down, 8 yards to go, near the 15 of Buchholz now.
He might actually appreciate that. He had quite a college career. After that, we won't mention.
Goss to fake to Johnson.
Look at him just carry.
Tugging Jeff McCants behind him. Gains maybe 4. Still about 3 yards away from first down yardage.
Brad McCants.
Did I say Jeff McCants?
You said Jeff McCants because you heard in our earphone that Jeff Carter is okay. He just had a little bit of he got the wind knocked out of him. Give him some water, he'll be fine.
As long as I don't say Keith McCants. That was close.
You're just hurting. When Kevin and I, the big Buck fans, you're hurting us when you're talking about that. 4th and 3, and they're going for it.
This is Goss around the right side. He's got the first down or close to it. The extra effort will give the first down to Palatka inside the 5-yard line of the Bobcats.
Lawrence Goss has run the option very well tonight. He had a little problem picking up the reads early when they went to this option game, but he's run it very well since then. He doesn't have your traditional option type build. He's not the usual short squatty type. He's tall and lean. Looks like an athlete you'd see at wide receiver, but he is playing very well as a quarterback right now in the option game with only 44 seconds left in the half.
Palatka has called a timeout. They'll talk over their strategy as they're inside the 5 now. A vital possession. Goss has that extra ability you'd like to have in a quarterback. He falls forward. That's always a nice option to have.
And he's not a big guy. It's not like he can take on tacklers, but he's able to just lean forward to your right and create some extra yardage. And when you're in a ball control scheme, any extra yard you get is going to work for you.
With 44 seconds left to go in the half, Palatka's had the ball now for almost 6.5 minutes. Again, we alluded to earlier that their offense can best be described as a ball control offense. They'll keep it on the ground and just grind it out.
Like we've only seen 2 passes attempted by them. They were both right through the hands of the receivers. Now split up to the top of your screen is number 17, Josh McKinley. That's an easy slant if they want to run it. That's an easy play if they want to run it.
We can't see it now, but believe us, he's up there. 1st and goal from the 4. Goss takes the snap on the option again.
That'll work.
Goss near pay dirt. He's in for the score.
No, he's not in. There's a flag on the play also. How he didn't get in is amazing.
I thought he had the ball over the plane. Obviously.
So did I. But it looks like there's a lot of things we need to sort out. Referee Rich Watkins and the rest of his staff.
A flag lays at the Buchholz 10-yard line. Who knows what it's for?
That flag is way off the ball. It's holding by Palatka, so that's going to push him 10 yards back. That's going to completely change the complexion of the plays that Coach McCool wants to run. You know, he can run him up the middle now, or that's what he wanted to do, run him up the middle when he's inside the 5. But when you're back on the 15, you've got to start thinking about spreading out the field a little more.
You'd think they'd be giving the ball to number 35 right here, Vince, Lee Johnson. He leads the state with 132 carries in just 5 games, over 26 carries per game. This is the time when he likes to have the pigskin in his hands.
Yeah, Palatka's got to call a timeout and make sure. Actually, he was just motioning for how much distance there was. The penalty was declined. Now there's a timeout called by Palatka. I cannot think of one singular logical reason why that penalty would be declined.
At any rate, you are experiencing the longest 30 seconds in high school football history. Count yourselves lucky. The longest video show, or it should be the longest because of the quality of the videos is so good. Video Visions, Friday at 6 o'clock and Sundays at 9:30. Join your Cox Cable 8 VJs for that one. Also bring the noise. Join Tisha, Elo, and Philly Phil as they bring you the best in video.
We had a clarification. It looks like there was offsetting holding penalty to something. So it's still first down for Palatka down near the goal line. So no harm was done. Coach Dean pleading his case. And as Kevin said a couple of games ago, he's probably talking about how to fix that green pepper burger.
Ooh. I don't know that story, and I don't.
You don't even care to know about it.
Okay, good.
It was just a very funny interlude by Kevin. I remember against Eastside, Coach Dean was pleading his case like a great court lawyer. He was out there on the field almost every single flag, and Kevin made the allusion to the fact that he might be talking about different hamburger recipes.
Meanwhile, despite common knowledge, we do have a football game going on. After about what seems like a 3-hour break.
Has there been a rain delay?
We're almost set to go.
The band can't wait to get on the field. They're on top of the screen just itching.
Goss has already tallied 54 yards on the ground. 2nd and goal, about 6 inches away from pay dirt.
Keep your eye on the right side of the line. That's probably where they're going.
Lee Johnson, and he is in the end zone. That's a touchdown. It's official. He's across the white line. Touchdown, Palatka.
We're talking about Lee Johnson's carries. We talk about Lee Johnson's yardage. The big stat for him is the fact he scored 12 touchdowns on the year.
That being his 12th. Just pitch the ball out to him where no one is and let him put his head down and try to get into the end zone.
Reminds me a lot, watching Palatka reminds me a lot of the films and what my dad told me about the 1960s Green Bay Packers. They're going to run what they do best. You try and stop them.
In to kick the extra point is linebacker Robert Passmore. The hold from Jeff McCool.
With the toe.
And good. 32 seconds left to here in the first half. Your score, Buchholz 10, Palatka 7.
You got to wonder what Buchholz is going to do when they get the ball in this situation. 30 seconds left. They have a passing timeout. Believe me, there is a few seconds left in this second quarter.
Palatka, very important they get that score there going into the half.
They were looking very, very bad. They didn't have much chance. Lee Johnson didn't pick up a lot of yards. And you saw during this drive, Lawrence Goss was able to keep up and make up for that. Johnson only has 28 yards rushing on the night, far, far below his average of about 130 a game. Let's check the stats. He averages 115 a game. He's not on pace for that tonight, obviously. And is there a more dangerous deep threat of receivers and or kick returners than Damon Wimberly, Vontrell Mitchell, and Antonio Smith? You're talking about 3 guys right there who run sub-4.5 40s.
We've seen Vontrell Mitchell with 2 big returns so far this year, one against Eastside in the season opener, and another one that almost went back all the way. He is definitely explosive.
Vontrell Mitchell is special. I mean, he might, Gainesville Sun's got his name wrong a few weeks in a row. I know they're going to get that straightened out. We're not making fun of them at all, but he's the big play athlete for Buchholz.
That's Passmore set to kick now.
Ooh.
The kick will go out of bounds around the 26 of Palatka. A flag on the play, of course.
And the best part about this is if they choose to decline the illegal procedure penalty, they get the ball to 35 with no time coming off the clock.
Ooh.
That's a great rule. I remember when before the rule for putting the ball in the 35 was put in, you'd see guys kick the ball out 6 times in a row. The game would draw on. It would go on longer than a bad opera. It was horrible. But this is a great rule. It really speeds things up.
You can only expect such when you have your starting middle linebacker in to make
we're not talking specialists here at the high school level. That's true. You find those strange hybrids like Brad McCants, the defensive tackle / punter.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall the day they decide who kicks the ball. First day of practice. All right, we need a kicker. Yeah, 200.
No, don't kick the laces. Funniest thing I ever saw, though, FAMU had a great athlete over the past couple years named Wally Williams. Defensive tackle, 6 foot, 300 pounds. He averaged 42 yards a punt.
Wow. Nice.
An incredible athlete. And, of course, he went to Florida High. Oh, I'm sorry, he went to Godby, I believe.
You know, we shouldn't make too much fun of the kickers here tonight. The last game, Palatka had 42-yard average against Orange Park on punts. On first down, that's Johnson.
That's a
going
pick.
Deep, looking for R.J. Anderson.
Oh, my.
He's got it at the 38-yard line of Palatka. A tremendous catch from R.J. Anderson.
R.J. Anderson comes back to us. He only seems to have big games when the cameras are on. He's looking for those red lights up in the stands. That's a phenomenal catch, using that 6'8" high jump skills to get up and get that one. I thought for sure it was a pick.
You said it. I was thinking it. That's going to be intercepted. But Anderson climbed the black ladder and snared it.
The problem was Fowler didn't get over there quick enough. He didn't make a very good read. That pass by Johnson was not particularly pretty. It had a little bit of a wind flutter on it. But R.J. Anderson, you just can't beat athletes. I mean, he's very tall, 6'1".
That'll set up a 1st and 10 at the 36 now for Buchholz.
Only
24 seconds remaining.
Right, only 11 seconds came off the clock.
Always nice to have a guy. I mean, you mentioned Anderson's leaping ability. That play was going for nothing until he went up and just grabbed it.
If you got receivers who can just go up and get balls and are physical, there's no problem with throwing the ball up. It's very similar to what I do when I throw the ball to Mike at flag football.
How about a replay? 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 I guess we can't. We get the replay. Oh, darn.
No, we're not in this house. We don't.
Coach Dean calls a timeout. Now we'll come out and visit with his quarterback, Doug Johnson. Setting the FHSAA record for timeouts in a quarter. Congratulations, Coach.
In the last minute.
Now we're set. 1st and 10 at the 37 of Palatka.
Confusion by Palatka's defense.
They give him the draw is to Wimberly. He's got room to run up the middle. A flag on the play. Wimberly breaks free. He's down to the 11-yard line, but I think it's coming back.
Unfortunately, Wesley Perkle tried to make a little extra block to spring Wimberly free, and he did it. Unfortunately, it was a clip. They're going to bring that one back, and I don't think they're going to get any more time back on the clock either.
You saw Wimberly jump up and clap his hands. He thought he'd just made a long run, putting the Bobcats in position to score before the half, but it's going to come back.
Palatka was lucky in that respect. Their defense had some confusion. They saw the normal setup, rather than the 3 wide they saw before. And there was some confusion by the middle linebacker. He was turning his head, looking around. Rod King had no idea where to go. And the play came right at him.
The call is a hold. Holding. Of course, that goes back from the spot of the foul, not from the line of scrimmage.
Right. I think Doug Johnson can throw a ball 50 yards. We've seen that before.
Quarterback Doug Johnson already has 68 yards on 2 of 4 passing. There you can see the ball being placed back about 10 yards.
He is putting up some huge numbers this year, but don't look at the attempt to completion ratio. Everything else he's doing this year is great.
Really a strong leader, it seems, for what, a 16, 17-year-old. He's just a sophomore.
He's probably younger than that if he's a sophomore. Might be 15. That's true. I mean, he might be just a sophomore, but guess what? You're playing quarterback. You're expected to be the leader out there. I don't care if you got Walter Payton behind you. You need a quarterback who's going to take charge of the huddle.
Since his big game against Eastside, he had 305 yards in that game. Since then, he's only 20 of 66 for an average of 74 yards per game. That is the reason that a few Buchholz fans have been saying the name Gator Reed in the last few weeks, but Buchholz is 4-1.
Don't think there's a quarterback controversy here with the black and gold. Not one bit. Gator Reed is playing very well at defensive tackle, and I fear if they put him at quarterback, they'd lose another tackle. And their defense is the ones having problems right now. They can't afford to take any starters off that side of the ball. Interesting to see what kind of set Buchholz comes out with here. Looks like nothing fancy, no 3 receivers to one side or anything like that.
It'll be their split eye formation. Bullard at the head of the eye with Wimberly behind him, Anderson to the right, and Mitchell to the left. This is Johnson, fakes to Wimberly on the draw. They'll look across the middle. There's Mitchell, but the ball is underthrown and incomplete with just 7 seconds to play.
Doug Johnson set his feet well on that play, had a nice pass block on his weak side by Conrad Call, who went back to the left tackle now. I guess they're flipping them back and forth.
Now that they've got that draw established to Wimberly, Johnson will drop back and fake that. And the linebackers will stay home, opening up a play. Mitchell was open there, but just couldn't get the ball in his hands.
If you ever watch a South Carolina Gamecock game, you'll see them run the draw and the fake draw to death, and that's something that's really deadly. It'll hold up those linebackers. They'll just freeze them right in their boots. Now, Palatka's dropped very, very deep in this situation for good reason.
Johnson with an audible. 2nd and 20 with just 7 seconds to play. This could be the last play of the half. It's going to be a sack. Number 52, Ben Miles, the senior nose guard, snags Doug Johnson behind the line. A loss of about 11. That will end the first half.
Ben Miles went mini miles to get that sack, went around the center and had to chase Doug Johnson down. Been a fine first half of football. Can't wait to see the second one.
Ben Godfrey Miles rounding it out for us. Your score at the break: Buchholz 10, Palatka 7. We'll be back with the second half. We're at the break. 10-7 Buchholz leading the Palatka Panthers, ranked number 10 in 4A.
Let me talk about the man in the overall.
Yeah, both y'all at the same time.
McCants set to kick off now for Buchholz.
Back deep for Palatka, Greg Stiles, the return specialist, and 35, Lee Johnson, the area's leading rushers. A very well played first half, almost penalty free, as you'll soon see with the stats. Lee Johnson calls for the fair catch. And we'll go down to Kevin McKelvin on the sideline.
All right, fellas, I got Otis Howard and Scooter Rushing with me from Eastside. Otis, tell me, are you guys getting ready for the game next week?
Yes, sir. We've been working kind of hard this week, coming off the upset last week. This week, our homecoming, we plan to play very hard.
All right, Scooter, how about that tough schedule you guys have so far? Is it having any effect on y'all mentally, maybe?
Not really. Our schedule wasn't so tough. If you look at it, it's kind of tough, but the hardest game we've kind of played is down in Cocoa. But other than that, the schedule wasn't so tough.
Okay, we'll have these guys right back here next week. Eastside and Interlochen. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kevin. First down for Palatka. That's Lawrence Goss to give us to Lee Johnson, the tailback. He'll gain maybe 2 up the middle, setting up 2nd and 8.
Lee Johnson had a pretty solid first half. Nothing like the great games he had early in the season against Bradford and such.
After that big game against Bradford, he's only been averaging 115 yards per game. I say only. That's really not too bad.
Yeah, here's some great, the stats tell the story. I mean, right there, 96 yards rushing for Palatka. And the total yards for the Bobcats, 159, is right near the Palatka average per game. Their defense is very stingy. And that quick look you just got showed you that Buchholz is moving the ball very well against them.
2nd and 9 for Palatka. The fake to the fullback, and that's Goss around the right side. He escapes one tackler, but does not escape Derek Harris, the free safety.
Goss is doing that option all by himself. I've yet to see Lee Johnson get out there in the correct spot for a pitch this entire game. One reason is they're sending somebody to take him out regardless if the ball's pitched or not. Lee Johnson's got somebody on his helmet every single play.
It's almost not a true option. It's like it's a keeper from the beginning.
Like one of those veers like Gainesville runs where they fake to the fullback, or maybe something you see in the Arena League where they fake to the fullback and the quarterback falls right after him. You gotta like the Arena League reference.
I knew we could not get through the night without a mention of the Arena League or Canadian football. I knew it was going to happen, and it happened at 10:44 in the third quarter.
Mark that on your calendar.
3rd and 3 for the Panthers now. Goss under center.
Palatka's still on the unbalanced line. They run right towards the strength.
They give us to Johnson, and he is stuffed. 2 yards away from first down yardage. That'll bring up 4th down now for Palatka.
Palatka yet to really get their offense rolling. Goss is the only one who's picked up any amount of yardage with the long carries. And they got Lee Johnson free with a counter play. Other than that, this offense has gone nowhere.
And we're really starting to see evidence of the injured Palatka offensive line.
You are. There's a lot of guys who are out there who are small, and they're, luckily they're going up against small players from Buchholz. But those small players from Buchholz have been used to going up against guys who are 70 pounds, 100 pounds heavier, and they always have the quickness advantage.
And there's a lot of those guys for Buchholz. They're running too deep at every line position.
And they're sending 9 on the rush.
The punt from Beckwith is away. Derek Harris settles under it. Lets it roll once. He's going to return it.
He shouldn't have.
He gets hit there by number 52, Ben Miles. Miles makes a big play to end the first half and another big play to open the second half. Buchholz will start this possession at their own 16-yard line.
3 and out for the Panthers, not a good sign for their offense. Their defense, of course, as I've just read in the paper, Betty Collins says they're the stingiest in the area. They need to bring up that, their past performances.
They put themselves in the position they wanted to be in. 3rd and 3. You'd like to be in that position with a tailback like Lee Johnson, but it just didn't pan out.
they're going to lead too much. They need to just play action and free him up a little bit because they got 9 guys on the line of scrimmage trying to stop him.
1st and 10 at their own 17 for Buchholz. This is Wimberly on the toss sweep to the right side. He gets a block from Bullard. He breaks free for a moment, then is pushed out of bounds at the 23-yard line. The Buchholz fans beckoning for a flag. They thought a late hit on the play as Wimberly ran about 4 yards out of bounds, but no flag.
That one was a little bit farther out of bounds than the earlier hit on Goss in the first half. If this one was a little more deserving of a flag, but they're letting it play. That's nice.
Bontrell Mitchell is down for the Bobcats near the sideline. He was standing there. He was fine, and all of a sudden he went to 1 knee, then 2 knees, and then he was doubled over.
There is someone that Buchholz cannot afford to lose. Bontrell Mitchell, I mentioned in the first half, is their big play man. He's a very special type of athlete who can create the big plays, very similar to Corey Quaintance was a couple years back for Buchholz.
It looks like it's a cramp now. They're trying to stretch out the back of his legs. He was standing there after the play, looked a little dazed, then grabbed his leg and went down gradually. But he looks like he's a little bit shaken up.
As you look at Neil Mingo looking to step into the game for Bontrell Mitchell's spot, there's really no, I don't think it's hot enough tonight to really justify a cramp. He needs, obviously, you know, the simple things like keeping water in your system and stretching. You need to do those. If you're not, you're going to end up on the sidelines.
There you see Mingo. Mitchell is up and off under his own power. 2nd and 3 now for Buchholz. Johnson surveys the defense. He's got Wimberly and Bullard behind him. The give is to Wimberly up the middle. 1st down, Buchholz.
Great cut inside the hole by Wimberly. Most backs will make their cut before they get to the hole. He was in the hole, made a quick move to the left, and picked up 1st down yardage.
Actually, this may be a little closer than we anticipated. The officials calling for a measurement, I think.
They have not been shy about bringing out the sticks tonight.
Here they come. You know, I always like to see here at Citizens Field the chain gang. It's a bunch of guys from the stands. Usually around kickoff time here is usually 7:30. Around 6:30, you hear the calls for some chain workers for the games.
Yeah, where's the union labor force here? Thankfully, the job description is not too tough.
The signal from the referee, Rich Quatkins. 1st down, Bobcats. The ball sits at their own 26-yard line. 9:07 left to go in the 3rd quarter. 10-7 Buchholz is your score. Johnson this time with Rembert and Wimberly behind him. The pitch is to Wimberly on the toss sweep to the left side. He'll cut back inside, find no room, escapes 2 tackles, and gets stopped for a loss of 3 or 4, now maybe 7 yards behind the line.
Brian Westney should have had him about 5 seconds before that. He gave up his position on, trying to contain the runner. He gave it up, but thankfully the rest of that defense is starting to pick it up now.
We've seen Westney in the backfield seemingly all night.
He's coming off that left side defensive end. He's playing up against Crawford or Call, one or the other. They've been flipping the tackles a little bit for Buchholz, depending on the situation.
Westney also a tight end. You'll see him in there on the offensive side of the ball for the Panthers. 2nd and 15 now for Buchholz. Bontrell Mitchell split left now, back in the game after a cramp. That's R.J. Anderson to Doug Johnson's right. They give us to Bullard up the middle. He'll gain about 4 yards before he is stopped by Rod King.
Very conservative call on a 2nd and 15, a handoff to the fullback. Very interesting. They maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage. Look like they're a bit short. Now it's 3rd and long. This deep in your own territory, what kind of risks will you take if you're Coach George Dean or Bob Smith up here in the box?
It's hard to think they would be that conservative at this point in the game. Of course, they don't want to give the ball up this deep in their territory, but on 2nd and 15, that's a hard call to make.
Certainly there's a certain confidence in the defense for Buchholz, and Lee Johnson has not broken one yet, but I don't think it's a matter of time before he does.
3rd and 11, right at the 25-yard line. This is Johnson dropping back. He's going to be dropped for a loss at his own 15 by number 51. That's Harvey Coring, the defensive tackle.
Push right up the middle, went right through the guard center gap, and a big loss. Now Palatka, let's see what they do in this situation. Do they send 10 to try and block? Or do they set up a return and let Lee Johnson and Lawrence Goss take over?
Coring that time beat the block of Shane Gosling. Snuck in the backfield. Looked like Johnson had time for a second, then he was swarmed under by big number 51.
Gosling is he has a very good chance of getting tired during a game, of course, playing both ways.
McCants now back to punt. Back to receive for Palatka. Greg Stiles, but there's a whistle halting play.
There's 12 players on the field for one reason. Palatka called a timeout to avoid the penalty. The penalty wouldn't have hurt him, of course. There's 4th and 20. We got a timeout on the field.
6:53 left in the 3rd quarter. 10-7 Buchholz here at Citizens Field. Michael McKnight along with Vince Regan. On the Cox Cable 8 Game of the Week, Vince, it's been a game of running back so far, just like we had imagined from the beginning.
Yeah, it's really obvious to see great running backs. And of course, if you want to keep this one for your archives, call us for a copy. 377-1741, extension 250 or 251, whichever number looks better to you. $19.95 plus tax equals $21.15. It's a lot better than a newspaper clipping.
What a bargain. Vince Regan. Is this the Home Shopping Network?
If your card number ends in 3, we have a special 20% off savings for you this evening.
I can tell you've been watching a little too much TV. 4th and 20 now for Buchholz.
Mostly football.
Brad McCants now back to punt for the Bobcats. Greg Stiles again deep for Palatka. Ahead of him, B.J. Fowler, the free safety, the short man. Play is still halted as the referees spot the ball. Rich Watkins now talking to his linesman, Todd LaPinta, trying to get things squared away on the field.
LaPinta doesn't like it. Nobody's gonna move him. He's staying there very stone-faced. I'm not moving to somebody tells me to, and there he goes. Let's get play started.
Palatka with 9 men on the line could be coming after this one deep in Buchholz territory.
They will set up the return. McCants got off a nice spiral, but it is low.
This is Stiles at his own 46.
He's got a wall.
Dodge 1 tackler, break 2 more. Break another tackle.
Incredible balance.
2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th effort from Greg Stiles, and his team is obviously spirited by his return.
Greg Stiles is listed by Coach Jim McCool as a return specialist, and that was a very special return. Incredible balance. He was getting brought down by 3, 4 different players. He kept his balance basically with his right big toe and his left hand.
Stiles, a 6'1", 165-pound senior, and it's nice to have a guy. You can see him running horizontally along the field. He saw that one block, and he was 8 yards upfield just like that.
Palatka did a great job of getting some of those players back from the line of scrimmage to set up a return. There was a wall set up to the right side of the field. I think Stiles might have done better going to the outside, but you can't argue when your team starts at your opponent's 35.
Palatka blessed with great field position. 1st and 10 at the 36. Goss fakes to the fullback again. This time he'll be swarmed under. That's McCants. And number 22, Bubba Key, also in on the stop. Goss has had good luck running that option, but that time he was just had nowhere to go.
He was out there on his own. He didn't have much of an option to go with. He faked the handoff to Johnson, maybe looking for some sort of a swing pass. And as we go to the water break, which always seems to just stop the momentum, coaches will tell you, in fact, that this is something they just do not like.
Goss doesn't seem to be selling that option as effectively as he was in the 1st and 2nd quarters. That time he kind of went through the motions there, and he made a sea of black in front of him. Be sure and join us here on Cox Cable 8 every Thursday night at 7:30. We hope. The Cox Cable 8 sports team will bring you the latest in high school athletics action.
This Thursday night we got on time, of course, and it was a tribute to the Bucks, as Kevin and I made a lot of references to the Bucks, and Kevin, speaking of the Bucks, is on the field.
Well, thank you, guys. This has nothing to do with the Bucks, but it has something to do with the Buchholz defense. They talked the whole halftime about stopping Goss and that option. They're putting the guy, of course, on the running back, and they're also keying on Goss. So they're trying to shut that down. They're trying to force Palatka to throw the ball. That's what they want. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Buchholz doing a good job here in the early going of the 3rd quarter at stopping Goss.
Coach Dean, if you take the previous performances that game plans he's tried to work with the defenses, he likes to assign spies to the players on the other side that are dangerous, like Johnson and Goss. So don't be surprised there's 2 guys looking at nothing but those 2.
2nd and 12, the option goes to Lee Johnson. He breaks 1 tackle, stumbles forward, pickup of about 6 on the play, setting up 3rd and about 6.
I've yet to see, I'm still not impressed by Lee Johnson. All the hype that we saw in the first 2 games, he basically lost his balance, making a very simple outside cut on that one.
He's doing it all by himself to get to that point, however.
That's true. You always have to think about what else might be the reason for his down stats, and maybe certainly it's the injuries to the offensive line that have been hurting him of late. He's getting a breather right now. Kind of strange, you don't see him in the game at 3rd down.
That's Jake McCaskill split left for Lawrence Goss.
Hedrick Brooks behind him. Tailback.
Goss looks left. The pass is number 44, Emmanuel Fagans. He's got room to run. Gets a great block from Kendrick Taylor. Breaks 2 tackles, and he will score. No, he won't. The referee has him down at the 11-yard line. I thought he had broken those 2 tackles and was going for the end zone. The referee, Rich Watkins, had his hands over his head. 1st down Palatka, however, at the Buchholz 11.
He finally, it certainly seemed to me that he stayed in bounds, but you can't fault the official. He was less than 5 yards away from the play. Made a good call there, but that's still incredible by Fagans, however you pronounce his name. He has 2 G's in it. That's how I got confused.
Why haven't we seen that play before? That was wide open.
Yes, and they've tried to run it earlier, remember? They tried to run it from the counter action, and Fagans had not turned it around yet. I'm going to get in trouble saying this kid's name that way.
Coach Jim McCool visits his Panthers now, trying to devise some strategy as they're within the 15-yard line, the 10-yard line rather.
Coach McCool, very smooth, very cool when we talked to him before the game. And that's a good stat. Brian Green's been doing the stats tonight. Mike, do you care to do the...
That is Lawrence Goss's first completion of the night. He's had 3 dropped in the first half, right through the hands of receivers, but Emmanuel Fagans held on to that one and had a big gain. Palatka now in good position to score.
So far, their passing game does not look too complex. The 3 drops in the first half were simple out patterns. I guess he gave up on throwing outside the hash marks. Decided to keep it inside with his very talented backfield. Now, Lee Johnson still has not come back into the game. We're still looking at Kedrick Brooks, the senior, at tailback. I don't see Johnson on the sidelines on the bench, so he's probably standing up somewhere. It's very hard to see from this distance.
Buchholz could be missing Dandrick Owens now. He left the game on the last series and has not returned. Number 40 defensive back for the Bobcats. 1st and 10 at the 10. Goss faked the pitch, but then went down to one knee, and of course that will be a loss of about 1.5 yards. Goss didn't mean to, but his foot slipped out from under him, and that knee hit the turf. He
got tripped by Fagans, basically. It looks like there might have been a little bit of confusion during the fake handoff. Can't fault Goss for that.
From seeing this game, 1 half through the ball game, there's no doubt as to who's controlling the field out there. Lawrence Goss is the man calling the shots. In the huddle, he's taking charge. Quite a leader for the Panthers.
You can get all the yards you want, though, but still look at the scoreboard. Buchholz still has more points. I mean, there's a lot of yards being chewed up here by Palatka, but they're not getting in the end zone.
2nd and 13 at the 13. Goss across the middle. Batted away that time by Bubba Key. I think he got a finger on it.
What a horrible throw. Into triple coverage this deep into Buchholz territory. You need to take control of the ball a little safely.
Palatka in an interesting situation here is they can get the first down just inches away from the goal line. It's 3rd down now, 13 yards to go for that first down.
And Lee Johnson's still over on the sidelines. I see him standing over there next to the coach. He's got his helmet on, nothing wrong. He's just not in the game. They're sticking with Brooks here in this inside the red zone.
3rd and 13 for the Panthers. Goss surveys the defense. To give to Brooks. They'll pick up maybe four yards on the right side.
4th down. Do they go for the extra? Do they go for the field goal?
With 3:38 left in the 3rd quarter. Palatka going to try to tie it up here with a field goal. Robert Passmore strides onto the field, the toe kicker, and there's not a flat shoe on his foot.
The era of the toe kicker is pretty much gone as far as football goes this year, but you still see him at the high school level. And isn't there a toe kicker for the University of Texas? Can we see him miss one?
The kick is up and good from Passmore. A line drive between the uprights. Robert Passmore limping off the field now. His right toe possibly hurting him a little bit, but the score nonetheless is 10-all just before the end of the 3rd quarter.
That's one reason they don't toe kick that much more anymore. Toes get hurt when you don't have the proper shoe on there. It hurts a lot.
Palatka took advantage of their excellent field position on that drive. The great return by Greg Stiles set it up. Robert Passmore hit on a 22-yard field goal, and we are deadlocked at 3:12 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Kind of unfortunate Palatka did not take more advantage of that great field position. They started off at Buchholz 35. They got a field goal out of it. They got a tie ball game. You know, they can start over. The game is now basically 15 minutes long. On to kick for Palatka. B.J. Fowler, the free safety.
It's pretty much a kicking by committee for the Panthers. The kick is away. That's Wimberly setting under it. Lets it bounce once, feels it on the hop. He's up around his 30-yard line before he's even touched. There he's brought down by number 85. That's Brian Westney, who's been all over the field tonight for the Panthers.
He has been. He's been in the backfield on defense, chipping on special teams. Also, Tyrone Mack, the senior defensive back, in on the tackle.
The Bobcats will start just inside their own 30. 1st and 10, Buchholz.
Now we saw 3 fumbles early in the game by Buchholz. There's a look at Damon Wimberly. He will be the key for this drive in particular. 2:54 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and that's been the only thing that's been working for him tonight, except for that one very long pass near the half to R.J. Anderson.
On 1st down, that's Johnson looking for Anderson. Incomplete. Would have had a 1st down, but it hit him. The ball was a little low, but catchable.
Very catchable. Right off his hands. R.J. could not corral it. He was wide open on the slant pattern. Buchholz loves those timing patterns. They run them very well, but for some reason they just have not been connecting this year, and that reflects in Doug Johnson's stats.
It's usually at this point in the game, late in the 3rd quarter, a tie game, obviously a close one. The coaches kind of abandon what they had previously thought of and tend to rely on the kids that got him there. You'll see Damon and Wimberly handling the ball a lot now. Vontrell Mitchell. It's time to give it to the horses and see what they can do.
I guess they tried to break that up with a pass to start off the drive just to keep them honest. 2nd and 10 is a situation. That's the 2nd time tonight they've had incompletions on 1st down and set themselves up for a very rough shot. But this is the same way they responded last time, too, with a big play.
That's Bullard. He breaks 3 tackles. The tackle of Stiles, and Coring also there. Ends up way back as Ted Bullard. A gain of about 25 on the play.
Ted Bullard only had 10 carries coming into this game. He's got about 6 or 7 tonight. Everybody on the Palatka defense is queuing on Wimberly, and Bullard is just slipping underneath the pursuit.
Bullard averages 8.1 yards per carry. You think they get the ball in his hands a little more, but he's kind of the misbegotten son of this offense.
Well, he's being welcomed back into the family tonight.
1st down, Buchholz at the Panther 45. Anderson split out wide. That's Mitchell to the left. Correction, that's Mingo. Johnson back to pass, looking for Anderson. There's going to be a flag on that play. Number 19, Miguel Pedraza, interfered with Anderson. You could see him shove him in the back right before the ball got there, and Pedraza did not like the call.
Well, Pedraza was looking in the backfield. His job as a cornerback is to stick with the receiver. Now, he was looking in the backfield, looking for the ball, and R.J. Anderson ran right into him.
Scotty, get off the field!
No real debate about that call. You don't see Jim McCool arguing with the referees. An obvious interference penalty, although Pedraza did not appreciate it. That'll move the ball up 15 yards. That will bring up 1st down for Buchholz at the Palatka 30 now.
Remember, that is a 15-yard penalty in high school ball, and it's not a spot foul.
It's not a spot foul, but Kevin McKelvin may be doing a spot foul on the sidelines. Kevin?
Hey, thanks, guys. I just went over to Palatka's sidelines. Lee Johnson is not hurt. The coach just sat him down. He said maybe he needs a breather. One of the other players told me that maybe they thought that Buchholz wouldn't go after the pitch guy if they knew Lee Johnson wasn't in there. I don't know about that, but he's not in right now. But he should be back in the next series. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. That's Damon Wimberly with a big gain straight up the middle. 1st down, Buchholz. We were wondering why Lee Johnson wasn't in the game. The coach just decided he needed a mental break.
It's very easy for a player who had that kind of performance those first 2 games to get down on himself after the problems he's been having the last 3. And maybe that's part of it too, but we'll never know. We don't get a chance to talk to the players for Palatka.
His counterpart, Damon Wimberly, is taking over, however. The ball now lies at the 17-yard line of the Palatka Panthers. 1st and 10 for Buchholz.
Yeah, Wimberly's got to be getting up around the 100-yard mark tonight.
The pitch is to Wimberly again. Stopped in the backfield, breaks that tackle, and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. A gain of 1 or 2 on the play.
Vontrell Mitchell, for the 2nd game in a row that we've covered, absolutely leveled somebody. He was responsible for the crackback block. B.J. Fowler came up from his free safety spot and was introduced rudely to Vontrell Mitchell.
And you can tell when there's a good block on the field because the offensive coordinators up here go nuts. They love those blocks.
And plus the collective ooh from the crowd. That one hurt all the way up here.
The 2-yard gain will bring up 2nd and 8 now for Buchholz. Doug Johnson with Ted Bullard and Damon Wimberly behind him. Neil Mingo and R.J. Anderson split wide right. He gives it to Bullard up the middle. He's got running room. He's down to around the 5-yard line. There his progress is stopped by number 33. That's Anthony Seymour, the cornerback.
Ted Bullard is having a great game tonight. They're running counter plays for him, and he's got a lot of yards tonight too. We know Wimberley's got a few.
Wimberley's got 87 at this point, nearing the century mark.
What yard line are we on?
Third down and short. The ball at the Palatka 7-yard line.
They're going to bring out the sticks once again. Rich Watkins leaving no room for error for his squad.
I don't know about you, but my player of the game are the chain holders. They've been doing a really good job tonight. Look at that hustle. Look at that guy. He got off work a couple hours ago. Why not come out?
Thought he'd be enjoying the game from the stands, but somebody pulls him down and says, "Hey, go grab a flag."
Inches. Just inches to go. That'll bring up third and short. Bullard's run not quite making it there. He was met by a host of Palatka Panthers at the end of that run. He has 59 yards thus far in the evening,
which is about half his total of the previous 5 games, excuse me.
36 seconds left in the third quarter. Tied at 10 between the Bobcats and the Panthers.
Look to the top of the screen. R.J. Anderson has man-on-man coverage, and it looks like the cornerback, Seymour, is getting him outside containment.
But Johnson heads up the middle with a sneak. We should have guessed that. We were sleeping. Doug Johnson, the bread and butter, a quarterback sneak on short yardage, gives Buchholz the first down. First and goal now, Buchholz, near the 5-yard line.
It's not like he's getting a yard or 2 on these sneaks. He's getting 3 or 4. I mean, he's got 3 of these tonight. He's probably got about 15 yards rushing.
Running right behind his center, Matt Talbot, just lowers his head and moves forward. First and goal from inside the 5 now for Buchholz. There you see your score. The time winding down.
Probably one more play in this quarter.
Johnson sees the clock, wants to get that play off. Bullard in motion. The pitch is to Wimberley on the outside. The toss sweep. It's strung out well by Palatka, number 33, Anthony Seymour, the cornerback. An excellent play. Speed on speed there, and Seymour won.
And Rod King came up and made extra certain that Wimberley was not going to see pay dirt.
And he's letting him know about, actually, he's patting him on the back of the neck, congratulating him.
Let's go, quarterback.
That's the end of the third quarter. We'll go to break now with a message from Northgate Auto Center. The score, 10-all, Buchholz and Palatka in District 4-4A.
Between the Panthers and the Bobcats. They give us to Wimberley at the 7-yard line. He slips and falls. A loss of 2 on the play. That'll bring up third down, actually second down now for Buchholz.
That's going to make it third, actually. I think they just changed the sticks. So it makes things kind of interesting. They're third and goal from about the 8-yard line. They can run just about any play they want. They got the heavy jumbo set in there before. You see they're bringing out the larger guys now, bringing back in Anderson and Mitchell.
And also Shane Gosling, a guy that we mentioned earlier, goes both ways. In those crucial situations, they like number 60 on the field.
Interesting here, they'll put 2 wide receivers to the short side of the field. Maybe look for them to take advantage of the weakness to the other side of the line with a sweep.
Third and goal from the 8 now. The fake pitch to Wimberley. Johnson looks the other way. That's Perkle off his right hand and incomplete. The play was there, but the pass was not.
Better throw would have been a touchdown if he would have thrown it over the outside shoulder. Plus, if Perkle had a little bit of footwork, that's 6 points. But as it is, they're going to bring in Brad McCants to get the easy 3. He's already connected once tonight from 40. No doubt he can chip this one in from about 25.
There's evidence of having a sophomore quarterback there. You know, he's played well all year, a very poised young man, but that pass not quite there. That will come with experience.
Another thing, on third down, everybody knows the pass is coming. Maybe a first and second down would be a better call.
McCants with a 25-yard effort. It is up, and the referees say it is through. Buchholz takes the lead at 11:07 left in the game. 13-10, the Bobcats are ahead.
Now, one thing we mentioned, this is going to be a game between 2 tailbacks, Wimberley and Johnson, and it has been. It's also boiled down to a game between the kickers. They've really played a big part in this night. Brad McCants kicked, he's the difference. 2 field goals, 13-10's the difference.
Also, we must give a little credit to Bullard. Not only has he been running the ball well, but he is really helping out Damon Wimberley on those toss sweeps.
He's a great athlete. He was played tight end before when Sam Reynolds was here, and he getting his chance at fullback, and he's doing great.
McCants hitting his second field goal on the night. He has hit from 40 and 25 this evening. And he, as Vince mentioned, has put the Bobcats ahead. It's very rare we see on the high school level kicking game playing such a big part in the scoring. I mean, usually you have a guy come in there and shank a few, but McCants has been solid. He is set to kick off now.
That was one reason I was looking forward to the Buchholz East Side game. You knew two great kickers there, McCants and Greathouse. Of course, Greathouse is a Division I prospect. I don't think McCants is.
Back deep for the Panthers. Not Lee Johnson. It's Greg Stiles. Well, actually, there's Lee Johnson. We see him now coming off the sideline. The kick in the direction of Stiles to the left side of the field. No one's there. It'll roll into the end zone for a touchback.
That's something where the game films have been studied very, very well by the Palatka coaches, and Buchholz just went completely against convention, kicked it to the open side of the field, and of course in high school, once it goes into the end zone, regardless if it's in contact with somebody, it's a touchback.
And Lee Johnson did not leave the field. He is on the field now. He will be the tailback.
Boy, they need him with 11 minutes left. They're only down by 3. This game's going to go down to the wire. 3-point difference, and we've also noticed that in the last 4 games, Buchholz has fumbled 11 times. This game is far from over. Go get your snacks and drinks now. Stick around for the last 11 minutes.
Johnson is, of course, the leading scorer in the area. He has hit the end zone 12 times once this evening. There you see the quarterback, Lawrence Goss, for the Panthers. Under center, 1st and 10. They give us to Johnson. He'll head up the middle and maybe get 2. A good tackle there from number 9, Derek Harris. Okay, to Reed, correction.
Like I mentioned, Gator Reed was an athlete without a position, chipping in there a defensive tackle. Not what you'd expect a guy with his size, but he's doing a very good job this year.
It's very interesting. Guys like Dave Sanders and Gator Reed and Tarek Payton, they're not big, but they can shoot those gaps and get their hands on the ball carrier in a hurry.
How'd the Cowboys win the Super Bowl? With speed. Their defense isn't that big, but they had speed where they could get in the gaps, cover anybody who came out of the backfield, and you saw what it did for them last year.
Unfortunately, Leon Lett didn't have quite enough speed. This is Goss on 2nd down. He looks for number 17, Josh McKinley. Incomplete, a little behind him, but was that one catchable?
No, not at all, because it was behind the receiver, and that is the toughest catch in football. If you lead a receiver too far, he can stretch out and get it. You throw it behind him, he's got to leave his feet and do some incredible acrobatic work to get his hands on it.
The coverage supplied by Bubba Key on the play. He was right there should McKinley catch it. That'll bring up 3rd down now for Palatka, and this is a big play.
One thing that Palatka did not want to do with this drive is go 3 and out. For more than one reason, they don't have the ball. For the second reason, they're not taking any time off the clock, which is what they like to do. They're really putting a lot of pressure on their defense, and they don't convert here.
3rd and 7. Toby Jones split right. Kendrick Brooks split left. The fake goes to Johnson. He'll pitch it to Fagans across the middle on the fullback dump off. 1st down, Palatka. A big play, a big call. The 2nd time that's worked tonight.
That's the 3rd time they've called the pass play. Twice they've gotten big yardage out of it. And Fagans is doing a wonderful job once that ball gets in his hands.
And you can almost hear Coach McCool say, from over here.
Just the entire Palatka sideline was relaxed. They knew that was a big play. 3rd down, that deep in your own territory, you need to move it. And that's the only pass play that's going to work for them all night. That's a play with all the action, the kind of running plays they work, that's going to work all night too.
Goss audibles at the line to his receivers, number 24, Jake McCaskill, and 17, Josh McKinley. The pitch is to Johnson. He'll head off the left side. Still cannot quite break free. That time it was Sanders and also number 31, Jeff Carter, in on the tackle.
Those audibles that Lawrence Goss are doing are nothing. I'm going to give him an Emmy for those, because every time he does it, it's a running play. And you know Palaka's not going to throw the ball. Those audibles are just to maybe think that the defense is going to look confused on it. That's not going to happen.
It seems almost as if they're giving the Johnson the ball a couple of times on 1st and 2nd down, using him as a decoy in those 3rd down situations. It's 2nd and 7 now for Palatka. The fake goes to Fagans. The pitch is to Johnson. He nears the 45. It looks like the Buchholz defensive linemen are just submarining the O-line and somehow getting into the backfield. That time, Tarek Payton was back behind the line of scrimmage.
When you run an option game, all that you're asking the offensive linemen to do are hold on to their blocks for maybe 2 seconds. They're not getting that out of the offensive linemen for the Panthers. When there's penetration like that, it's very tough to run an option.
There you saw Coach George Dean of the Bobcats. He has got to be pleased with the play of his defense so far. Single coverage on the right side. Josh McKinley against Antonio Smith. 3rd and 4. Goss rolls right on the fake option. The throw downfield, that's McKinley. It's going to be complete, and he is tackled at the 20-yard line by Antonio Smith. A great route, a great roll, and the pass pass was right on the money.
That is a phenomenal throw by Lawrence Goss for one reason. He never set his feet. He did that. He cocked his arm when he was on his right foot, and he threw it with the left foot. Gavin Wade in the play. That is a great pass. Now, the funny thing is who was open was Alonzo Jackson, was open down the middle of the field about 20 yards beyond that. There's no way that Goss could have set his feet. That play, remember that one, 8:22 left in the game. That could be the difference tonight.
McKinley was saying, get here. The ball was in the air.
Oh, when you're waiting for those balls, it's like slow motion.
First and 10 now for Palatka inside the 20 of the Panthers. I mean, of the Bobcats, rather.
Unbalanced line again for Palatka.
This is Goss. The fake to Faggins. Goss is going to keep it around the left side.
Yes.
This time he'll pitch to Johnson. It's open, and he will break 3 tackles and scoot into the end zone. Lee Johnson puts the Panthers ahead 16-13.
And somebody's have to bring Lee Johnson back from the parking lot. He took a long run after that one. I said yes during the play. That is how you run the option. Finally, he got a couple counts stop out of his offensive line, and that made things so much easier for Lawrence Goss to get rid of that ball. He only had one guy to read rather than 3, and Lee Johnson, 13 touchdowns in 6 games.
Goss taking it upon himself to lead that drive down the field. The great pass play and then the great read on the option.
29 yards. That's just a huge play.
Robert Passmore in now to attempt the extra point.
This is a big one. We'll make a 4-point instead of a 3-point difference.
The hold from Jeff McCool. The kick is up and through. It's ugly, but it counts for a point.
It's only ugly because he's kicking with his toe. I mean, that ball is getting through there with a good amount of speed, not a lot of height, though. That makes a 4-point difference instead of a 3. That's very big. It's going to 7:56 remaining in this game. Buell's very easily can get back in this game. This is a good one. This is a night, and I like the reclassification put in Palatka in this conference. And last year they had a phenomenal player named Rodney Williams, tight end, who ended up going to FSU. They've had some phenomenal athletes come out of this program, and this year it's Lee Johnson. He's done it. He hasn't done it single-handedly. You got to remember that. Lawrence Goss has had a big impact in this game.
I know you and I have been talking all week, looking forward to this game. You and I both thought this game was going to be as good as it is.
We've been talking about this all year. I mean, we were showing Lee Johnson's stats the first 2 games. I mean, those things just jump out at you. But it's true. These 2 teams with a district rivalry and especially here at Citizens Field, I think that's a big advantage for Buchholz. But right now, they're going to need all advantages they can find. Less than 8 minutes remaining, down by 4.
That's B.J. Fowler, the part-time free safety, who will kick off now for the Panthers. They lead by 4 with just under 8 minutes to go in the contest. Back deep for Buchholz. That's Damon Wimberly again. Flanked by Antonio Smith and Vontrell Mitchell.
Remember, Mitchell had the 95-yard return earlier in the year against Columbia.
This time it'll be Wimberly. He takes it at his own 9. Cuts to the right side. Has a blocking wall. He's got room to run. But that wall is quickly closed by number 42, Rod King. Wimberly with a great return, however, to the 41-yard line.
Rodney King is everywhere making stops. Unfortunately, the rest of the team did not get down the field very quickly. This is great field position for Buchholz.
Had Damon Wimberly found that hole a second sooner, he might be still running right now.
That's true. I mean, it's a lot easier for us to see the holes up here, you know, way atop Citizens Field. Down on the field, it's a lot harder to see them.
The Bobcats face a 1st and 10 now at their own 41-yard line.
Definitely a little more tension in the air now.
R.J. Anderson, the lone receiver on the right. This time it's Vontrell Mitchell on the reverse. He is stuck there, met by Rod King, and dropped. A loss of a yard on the play.
Rodney King's out there trying to get he's on the far side of the field. He's punching. He is excited. And that's what you need out of your inside linebackers in the scheme they run. He's making some phenomenal plays tonight.
A big, long drive like the Panthers just had will certainly fire up your defense. It's always nice to play ahead rather than behind.
That's true. It's always nicer to be in the lead than behind. There's one guy, in the way that the Palatka plays their defense, the only guy who's really has a chance to block Rod King is Ted Bullard, or whoever plays fullback. Right now it's Ricky Rembert. So that's something to watch for. If they're going to run up the middle, you got to block Rod King.
This is Wimberly. He's looking to throw off the toss sweep.
Oh, no.
He's got R.J. Anderson, and the pass is going to be well underthrown, at least 10 yards beneath the coverage.
He was lucky that wasn't picked, and that is a call that is completely out of character for Buchholz. I'm very surprised to see that in 2nd and long.
Wimberly, I think, hurt his hand a little bit on the play, grabbing his hand, maybe because he was holding a duck. That's the 2nd time tonight that end around from Vontrell Mitchell, the reverse a play before that last play. That reverse has not been successful tonight for the Bobcats. They've tried that before, and it's usually met with great success. Number 40, Willie Fells now, the backup linebacker at the right inside linebacker spot, is down for the Panthers.
One of the other inside linebackers for Palatka, been a big key in tonight's game against Buchholz. they really can't afford to lose him either because there's not a lot of depth at linebacker, not a lot of size as part of Palatka. You know, Fells has 44 tackles this year, third leading on the team. He looks fine. Rodney King went over there and gave him a little slap, said, you awake? You ready to get back in here? We're going to need you, buddy.
My guess is he'll only be out one play, and then we'll see number 40 back on the green. 3rd and 11 now for Buchholz. Doug Johnson looks into the teeth of a hungry Panther defense. 6:40 left in the game. The give is to Damon Wimberly on the draw. He'll gain about 7 and be within 5 yards of the first down, but not quite enough. That draw has been effective so far.
It has, but on 3rd and long, at this point in the game, do you do that? 6.5 left in the game, and don't be fooled. This is a punt formation, but as you know, you can run any play out of any formation.
The word conservative comes to mind.
Well, you got to do what you do best. So far tonight, Johnson has not been very effective on the timing routes. He's been good on the tricky plays, but not on the timing routes.
McCants to punt. Deep for the Panthers, Greg Stiles. We've already seen him work his magic this evening.
Damon Wimberly's short, too.
They fake the fake punt. This time, McCants will take off on the left side. It's a fake. He will be nowhere near the first down. He is stopped behind the line. Palatka saw that one from the beginning.
Brad McCants was able to run for a first down in the game we did against Columbia, probably the game that made the play that made the difference in that game. This one was not by design, though. That was just, I have to question that. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 5 in that situation, why not keep your offense in the game?
Now the Panthers are in Buchholz territory with a chance to drive just 46 yards and put themselves in a position where it'd be hard for them to lose this game.
Very hard for them to lose this game. We're going to get a timeout on part of the officials. The Palatka crowd is really cheering loud. Lee Johnson, now I think more importantly here than getting points on the board with 5:40 remaining, is taking time off the clock.
The referee, Rich Watkins, confers with his associates at midfield.
How many yards is Johnson?
A hard-hitting game so far on both sides of the ball. Both defenses playing well. We are experiencing another FHSAA mandatory water break. Now, if you want a copy of today's game, be sure to give us a call at Cox Cable. We'll help you out. Only $19.95 plus the 6% sales tax, and you will get your own video of this contest.
Remember, operators are standing by.
Anxiously awaiting.
That's the same number you can call, too, for any nominations for Athlete of the Week for Sports Week or any game footage you might have to help us out with some highlights, because we love to get the plays on the air. It's kind of hard for us to go out and cover every single game. Any help we can get from the folks out there watching the games would be more than appreciated.
Tailback Lee Johnson has upped his rushing total to 77 yards now. He gets the pitch this time. He has found his rhythm, Vince. That's a 10-yard gain and a first down for Palatka.
Exactly right. Rhythm is the key to a tailback in an I system, because you're going to get your carries. You've seen him get 38 and 41 in separate games this year. You get into a rhythm where you start to read your blocks. The fullback starts to work his isolation block, and he has found it. He does seem to have a little more rhythm, and he's leaning forward now instead of being tentative.
You can see him coming up from the tackle. A little bit of a strut that time for him. He says, give me the ball. I've got it now. Let's get going. 17-13 your score. 5:15 left here at Citizens Field. My name is Michael McKnight. I'm joined alongside by Vince Regan on the game of the week.
Easy, Carlos.
I don't know my own name. We are in the midst of a fine high school football game. 17-13 your score. Palatka leading Buchholz by 4.
Between the hedges here at Citizens Field.
Not Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, but Citizens Field. 2nd and 1 now for the Panthers. Goss again looks over the Bobcat defense. He'll drop back, looks to the left side. He'll scramble under pressure, and he's up the middle. He'll have a first down. 2nd and 1. Goss had it in mind before the play began that if the pass wasn't there, he's going to tuck it up and go ahead and get that first down.
You know, 2nd and 1 is what a lot of coaches will call a gimme down. You got a couple more plays to get the first down, and you might as well take a risk on that play. I was really surprised to see Palatka go for a pass on that one, and Goss made all the play on his own.
Pardon me if I was caught unawares on that play. I did not envision Goss dropping back on 2nd and 1. the Palatka faithful over there. No pulse. You saw him dropping back. They want to get this game put away.
That would have been a call very similar to Gerback to Howard against Notre Dame a couple years back, just completely out of character.
First and 10 at the Buchholz 30-yard line.
Rhythm.
Johnson again, and he is rolling.
Rhythm.
He's down to the Bobcat. 15-yard line.
Buchholz has to start thinking about calling timeouts right now. They have their full complement of 3. And they're going to use him. There's coach, defensive coordinator Gunnar Paulson.
Lee Johnson is on a roll.
He is, and this is what they needed. This is exactly what Palatka needed. Their offense was basically stagnant all the first half.
Remember to hear the videos and see the music on Video Visions, Fridays at 6 o'clock and Sundays at 9:30. That will be on exactly at those times, unlike Sports Week. And also Bring the Noise, rap, reggae, and more, Saturdays at 6:30 here on Cox Cable 8.
Lee Johnson has passed the 100-yard mark, and all the pregame hype that we've put on him, he's definitely responded.
Just like that, he's found his rhythm, and he's in the flow.
You know, I really wish we could talk to Lee Johnson after the game, and unfortunately, Coach Jim McCall has a rule against that.
Coach McCool does not allow any player interviews. Called him earlier this week,
Not one.
trying to head out
Not one. They hold
to Palatka to possibly interview some of his Panthers, but no go.
Amazing.
Just a policy of theirs, I suppose.
Kevin down on the field just told me that there's complaining the Buchholz sideline and the fact that Palatka hasn't had a penalty called against him this entire game.
First and 10. Palatka
Oh my
fumble.
goodness.
There's a scramble for the ball. Who's going to be the strongest? Dave Sanders was down into there fighting with Lawrence Goss for the ball.
2 fingers in the air already by the referee, Rich Watkins, signifying second down for Palatka.
Second down. Second down, it'll still be 10 yards to go.
They're going to
No gain on
hold
the
it.
fumble by Goss, just a missed exchange from his center.
You might have to do it all.
The Buchholz players and coaches are
Don't get too tight.
not happy with the officiating, but of course, if you don't commit a penalty, none should be called. I haven't seen any glaring mistakes in Palatka this second half.
I try to make a conscious effort of watching the offensive line, too, because that's where the game is usually won. And I haven't seen anything really ugly as far as a hold.
Second and 9, that's Lee Johnson. This time, Dave Sanders catches him 2 yards deep in the backfield. A great play by number 30 on that play.
Great penetration there. And we got to move that mic, or Coach Gunnar Paulson's going to have to apply for a job. He's on air more than we are right now.
I can barely hear myself think. He hasn't called the timeout in my ear the whole time. 3 minutes left, 17-13 your score. Palatka leading Buchholz. The Panthers face a 3rd and 11 at the Buchholz 15.
You got to think back to the fake punt call in your own territory by Buchholz, giving them great field position. If they would have punted away, what would have happened?
Correction, the ball's at the 17. The fake to Johnson again. This is Goss looking over the middle. It's incomplete. Intended for number 24. That's Jake McCaskill. We will send it now down to our sideline reporter, Mr. Kevin McKelvin.
All right, thank you, Mike. And right before this drive, you alluded to Palatka likes to ball control offense. Well, they have had the ball now for over 6 minutes. They have just drove this ball down the field, trying to take control of this game. 4th down now, but they've done a very good job of ball control. Back to you guys.
Great point.
Goss 3 of 9 for 64 yards on the night. You'd think they'd be keeping it on the ground at this point.
Yeah, especially in a third. Now it's 4th down right now. If they can get a field goal here, that would put them up by 7. Oh, it's not a field goal. I saw it. Looked like they were lining up.
4th and 11, and they're going to go for it, it looks like. This is Goss back deep. He's looking for his receiver across the middle. It's picked off. Antonio Smith caught it at his own 6-yard line, and he will be brought down at his own 17. A great play by Antonio Smith.
Great play by Antonio Smith, but did Palatka really lose anything on that play? Sure, it's an interception, and it may be the biggest thing that's going to come out of it. It's the momentum. Buchholz is fired up. But think about it. Buchholz is still inside their 20-yard line with 2.5 minutes to go, and the clock is running.
The pass intended for number 17, Josh McKinley, and Smith just made a great break on the ball.
Buchholz has got to hurry. I don't think they know the clock is running. 2:20, and it's gone. They've got to start moving a little faster.
The play clock also a factor now. It's down in single digits. Johnson alerts his troops of that fact. The fake is to Wimberly. He's looking to R.J. Anderson.
Great pass.
The button hook, he's there, and he is brought down to the 35-yard line.
All right, hurry it up. Buchholz hurried up because you've got a couple timeouts, but you want to save those to get your field goal ain't going to do any good. You need a touchdown in this situation. Of course, clock stops to move the sticks. Ted Bullard and the fullbacks are going to be rotating back and forth, bringing the plays in.
Just a simple little button hook that time. Anderson found the seam in the zone, sat down, and Johnson hit him between the 1 and the 0.
And Palatka is laying off way too far in this situation. They need to force the issue. Look at the top of your screen. There's a 10-yard cushion.
1st and 10 at their own 36. This is Wimberly. He'll gain 4 and be up around the 40-yard line with 1:37 and counting. The Bobcats are down by 4.
And they call a timeout. 1 left, 2nd and 6.
This is where the players earn their meals. I was going to say earn their pay, but I don't know.
We're not to that level yet. We can't talk about the pros. Oh, we can. Kevin talks about the Bucks all the time on Sports Week. So.
Do they get paid? They shouldn't be paid. There's R.J. Anderson.
Ouch.
He just made the big catch on 1st down. Quarterback Doug Johnson on the night, 3 of 8 for 85 yards. Not a lot of passing at tonight's game. Only 6 completions total for both teams. The game has been decided on the ground.
It has been, but right now the complexion of the game could change because it needs to be won in the air. Doug Johnson, if they can continue to throw the hooks, and they will get plenty and plenty of opportunities to throw the shorter passes. If they have their 2-minute offense clicking, they can get set up. They can run those hooks all the way down the field.
What does Coach McCool have to say to his team at this time of the game?
Stay aggressive. Stay aggressive. He's probably calling some blitzes, which is a great thing to do against a sophomore quarterback who's probably already a bit jumpy. He sees more than 5 guys coming at him. He's really going to be scared.
The cornerback, Anthony Seymour for Palatka, is a good 12 yards away from Anderson. He's looking Anderson's way. It's tipped and almost picked off by Anthony Seymour, whom I just spoke of.
And I got a question for Anthony Seymour. Why didn't you dive for that ball? He was thinking about running that ball back for a touchdown.
That's a ball game if he comes up with it.
No doubt about it.
You can see the defensive backs for Palatka. Their philosophy right now is to hang back and kind of wait for something to happen, then make the stop. They do not want to give up anything deep.
Did you see who got to the tip?
Actually, I think it was a Palatka player. I mean, a Buchholz player.
Well, I think it might have been Rodney King. I'm not completely sure, but we're going to give it to Passmore.
Johnson with 3rd and 6 now. The fake to Wimberly. He'll look along the left side. That's Wesley Perkle, the tight end. A gain of 8 on the play and a 1st down for Buchholz.
And the senior wisely gets out of bounds, saving a timeout. That's a great play. You're seeing man-on-man coverage on the part of Palatka. That's very difficult to do in this level of football. You don't get a lot of coverage practice.
The clock is stopped at 1:23 left. It's the 4th quarter at Citizens Field. The Palatka Panthers lead the Buchholz Bobcats 17-13. But the Bobcats are driving.
And driving well. Still plenty of time. 1:23, and they're inches inside Palatka's territory. I'm going to stand up because this is the point of the game where you've got to get serious. You've got to get fired up to do a game like this. It's very easy to do when the score is only down by 4.
A little confusion in the Buchholz backfield. R.J. Anderson finally finds his space. Johnson back to pass, looking Anderson's way again. This time it's in the direction of no one, and it should have been picked off right through the hands of number 40, Willie Fells. He would like to have that one back.
Willie Fells was injured earlier in the game. We knew he'd come back. I'll tell you, Ted Bullard needed to do a little bit better job of picking up the blitz there. Somebody came right at Doug Johnson's face and made him get rid of that ball a split second quicker than he wanted to.
That communication we spoke of right before the play, maybe the routes were not correct or something, but there was not a black shirt in the area of that pass.
There was one. Unfortunately, there were 5 Palatka guys. They're getting man-on-man coverage outside. You're asking the free safety Seymour to do a lot of work. He's back there by himself deep at the free safety position, helping out both sides.
Johnson with a 2nd and 10 in midfield, looking in the direction of Vontrell Mitchell. Perkle crossing route. He does not come up with it. The ball a little bit overthrown.
Yeah, I like the fact right there Buchholz sent 5 receivers into the pattern. Really put a lot of pressure on the coverage skills of Palatka.
Palatka head coach Jim McCool, we spoke to him before the game. He had some tapes in his hand. He cannot be very comfortable with the fact that R.J. Anderson and Vontrell Mitchell are lined up on the wide sides of the ball.
Doesn't look to me like Johnson's looking towards Anderson right now. He's thrown away from his side of the field. Probably that's also a function of the fact that Palatka is really concentrating on stopping him.
3rd down at midfield now for the Bobcats. Johnson again fakes to Wimberly.
Yes.
Back to pass in the direction of Anderson. Almost caught. Should have been caught off the helmet of R.J. Anderson at the 40-yard line.
But you could have done a better job of coverage. Greg Stiles, we call him return specialist. He's showing he's pretty special there on defense. I don't expect to see Buchholz try a fake punt here.
4th down. Doug Johnson and his troops face a tough Palatka defense. A defense that's only given up 10 points in the last 3 games combined. The Bobcats have already amassed 13 tonight and have had a good offensive showing on the legs of Damon Wimberly.
Here we go.
4th and 10. This is a big play. This is the ball game. Johnson back to pass. To Vontrell Mitchell.
You betcha.
First down, Buchholz. And the crowd likes it.
Doug Johnson completing under 35% of his passes on the year, but he's come up with 2 big ones in this final drive.
Where was Anthony Seymour on that play? The big cushion taken advantage of by number 4, Mitchell.
He was sitting back there waiting for the hook to happen, but he backed off when Vontrell Mitchell came right at him.
Johnson now 5 of 13 for 109 yards. Calling out the play to Mitchell, screaming an audible his way.
You know, a great call here would be a hook and go.
56 seconds now left in the game. First down, Buchholz. Johnson with a quick out to the left side of the field, tipped off the helmet of Vontrell Mitchell, and almost picked off by number 2. That's Robert Passmore, to do everything man for the Panthers.
Yeah, that ball wasn't tipped off Vontrell Mitchell's helmet. It was thrown directly into the back of Mitchell's helmet. He did not turn around. It was a great pass.
You could see Johnson before the play screaming in Mitchell's direction, obviously calling a different route. Mitchell did not pick up on the play, and the miscommunication almost killed the Bobcats. Second down now with 50 seconds. The incompletion does make the clock stop. Buchholz down by 4. Driving, the ball is at the Palatka 37. Johnson back to pass again. Looking to Mitchell. He falls down. Another pass through the hands of a Palatka defender. That time Greg Stiles was in position.
Palatka's had maybe 4 or 5 chances to put this game away with interceptions and have yet to come up with a 1. And Buchholz is still knocking on the door. Johnson has, you saw there, he's got a great arm. The receiver fell down.
Should the Bobcats come back and win this game, Coach McCool will look at those interceptions and cringe. In and out of the hands on 3 different occasions, that has got to hurt.
That's why they play defense. They wouldn't put him at wide receiver if they had hands like that.
45 seconds now remaining in the game. 17-13 Palatka leading Buchholz.
Anderson to the wide side of the field, the split in position. He's got one-on-one coverage.
Johnson back to pass. To Mitchell. Tipped up in the air. Almost caught by Wesley Perkle. He was in the direction. Did not pick up on the ball's location until it was too late.
We're going to see a great play there by Miguel Pedraza. He nailed Vontrell Mitchell before he had a chance to catch the ball. It was inside the rules because the ball was tipped.
Those defensive backs drool when there's a tip ball. They can just tee off and receive no repercussions. 4th down now for Buchholz. Another big play.
The crowd was crying for pass interference, but they're not going to get it in that situation.
Get a rule book. 38 seconds left. 4th down. Doug Johnson back to pass. Looking for Anderson. Out of his reach. The ball will go over on downs to the Palatka Panthers with 32 seconds left. And there you can see number 42, that's Rod King. He is happy. The defense is held, and Palatka is in position to come out victorious.
I'm speechless. It was a great effort by both teams here. Buchholz, of course, had the last chance. Now remember, we did see a fumbled center snap on the last drive by Palatka, so nothing is etched in stone quite yet. The guy who's out here selling signs with spray painting the 2 teams, he can't start painting quite yet.
A half a minute remains here at Citizens Field. There you see
Sylvester Myziak.
An unhappy Buchholz player at this point, hoping his team can work a miracle here. Lawrence Goss will not let that happen, however. He takes a knee, and the clock will continue to roll. We're at 26, 25, and still rolling.
And Buchholz does not have a timeout, unfortunately. That's why they had to hustle during that last drive to get set up after the completions, of which there were few, unfortunately, but there were some big ones.
Palatka has got to feel good about themselves, traveling to Gainesville, coming to Citizens Field, playing a tough Buchholz squad, and coming out with a W.
You know, no matter who comes in, who is the home team in this stadium, be it Eastside, Gainesville, or Buchholz, they have a big advantage. Look at the size of this place. The game expires. Palatka wins 17-13. Just an incredible effort. And like I said in the pregame, they go 3-0. I'm pretty sure it's going to be them going to the state playoffs.
There's the final gun. The referee holds the ball above his head. Time has expired here at Citizens Field. The game is over. Palatka has won 17-13 over the Buchholz Bobcats. They now have the inside track to the district championship.
Great ball game on both teams. They have nothing to be ashamed of. The early fumbles had nothing to do with the defeat on Buchholz's side. It was just a matter of the fact that Palatka had the ball for so long, controlled it. They did just a textbook game, according to Coach Jim McCool.
And their tailback, Lee Johnson, found his groove just in time.
He did. He definitely did. And that's, like I said, he needed to find his rhythm, and that's what he did. Once he did that, this game was pretty much wrapped up.
There's your score. The final, Palatka 17, Buchholz 13. We'll come back with more. Our post-game show when we return.
In the third quarter, you sat down Lee Johnson. Were you trying to light a spark under him?
No, not really. Lee's carried the ball a lot of times. He's averaging almost 30 carries a game, and we're just trying to give him a little bit of rest to keep him fresh for the last quarter and later in the third.
Okay, Coach. Now, even though your team got down 10 points early, they never seem to get down. Do they have that confidence instilled in them that they can come back?
Well, they've worked hard all year, and they know it takes 4 quarters of play. And we've been behind at halftime a couple times, and most all of our games have gone in just like this. The last quarter, last week, the ball game went down to the last minute and 25, so it's something they're used to. They don't quit. They have a lot of effort, and Buchholz deserves a lot of credit needed to their kids.
Okay, Coach. Now, this makes you 3-0 in the district. How does this make you? I mean, you got to feel good. You got to feel like you probably got a playoff spot wrapped up right now.
Well, I don't know if we have a playoff spot wrapped up, but it always feels good to be 3-0 with just 1 to go, and we're real proud of that.
Okay, Coach. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Vince.
Well, actually, it's Mike, but I'll take it anyway. Thank you, Kevin. A victorious Jim McCool on the sidelines with our Kevin McKelvin. He has got to be proud of his team. They came in here and battled the Bobcats and came away with a win, Vince. It was everything we expected.
It definitely was, and Coach McCool said he doesn't have his playoff spot wrapped up. He does. He's already got a victory over Ocala Forest. He's yet to play Vanguard, but he's
a coach.
3-0.
But he's a coach.
But he's coaching. He has to say things like that. You're right. But he does have his state playoffs wrapped up, and you'll see Lee Johnson running all the way past Thanksgiving, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the stats. Doug Johnson, 5 for 17, 109 yards. In that last drive, he looked very good, though. Lee Johnson's a story. 20 carries, about 10 under his average. He's got 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that's what he does best. 2 touchdowns, 13 on the season. Damon Wimberly had 90 yards. It was everything we expected. A battle of tailbacks and the kickers, especially Brad McCants. You know, he had the game won for him, a couple field goals, but Lee Johnson was just too much.
And we've got to take our hats off to both defenses as well. They stuck it in there. Buchholz bending but not breaking the whole game, and finally Palatka just broke through there at the end.
Plus the fact that Buchholz's offense has scored twice. You know, Palatka only averages about 6 points a game given up. They scored 13. They put themselves in great position to win this game, and Palatka, Lee Johnson's too much.
Your final score here at Citizens Field, Palatka 17, Buchholz 13. A great game, a District 4-4A game that will definitely have some repercussions come playoff time. This was a big one. Palatka tops the Bobcats 17-13 at Citizens Field. For Vince Regan, sideline reporter Kevin McKelvin, and our assistant Brian Greenspoon, plus Carlos Torres and Patrick Bryant, and all our camera persons, my name is Michael McKnight. So long, everybody.